we'll get underway with our very first map between these two teams. But if you're Oxygen, you had very minimal time to recover. So you're going to have to hit the ground running. They're going to be starting on defense on Villa. You've got the map working for you. 6 rounds for you to make a mark on this matchup. Don't squander that. The operator bans will go underway with Nomad and Hibana banned out, and we'll turn our sights towards the 2 defenders.
Okay, Villa, Nomad, Hibana. Nothing crazy going on here. Pulse as well. Okay, Pulse is a little bit different, but again, nothing too crazy. It makes sense on Villa. This is a very vertical map, and if you're able to leverage that on this map, you can be extremely proficient as a team. So that's not crazy. On the last ban, we will have Maestro banned out. So there we go. Ban's all cleaned up, finished off. So the reason you ban Hibana is because she is the only ranged hard destructor that is currently available to be played. Of course, Ace is not an option. And in the map on Villa, as I just mentioned, vertical play is a big deal here. So if you're a Thermite or a Maverick and you go in to try and open a wall, you might get C4'd from below, C4'd from above the wall. You might just get shot. And that's what Hibana's so useful for on this map. You don't have to expose yourself. So getting her out forces that exposure. I think that's pretty typical of Villa.
The Pulse ban is an interesting one because, I mean, we watch SSG play, and you know that Pulse is a stable operator for them, but it's also a stable operator for somebody like Foxay. And the way that OXG can play off of that, and the way that Foxay is capable of making those calls, well, it's not a surprise to take out a staple in that lineup. I mean, obviously, we're going to see the impact immediately because OXG is starting on defense. They're not going to have the Pulse at their disposal right off the bat. It's going to put Foxay on a bit of an interesting role. He's going to be playing on Smoke. That's a very familiar role for Slash, but Slash is going to be on Echo. And I suspect that we're going to see a great deal of diversity in the operator bans here. I mean, we already saw it earlier today. Expect to see a Clash ban at some point if this goes into the dead of night, because Clash can be quite a strong operator, especially on our second map, which is Consulate. And you know that Canadian quite enjoys running that operator as it annoys and frustrates and flusters the opponents. So with that said, starting on Aviator Games, the typical default bomb site, and OXG setup is something that we've seen increasingly commonly, which is where they keep one of the panels open inside of games. There's a rotate at play. You're going to stack up ADSs and Wamai magnets over by the main stairs, which is exactly where you see Laxing playing off of. And a deployable shield with the slats will give him tons of intel, so that's a good perch for him to play off of.
Plenty of denial when it comes to those grenades, but not going to factor in just yet. One thing that's curious is that Thatcher is, as far as I can tell, not banned, and he's not being played here. He would be useful in clearing out ADSs and magnets from the Wamai, but they're just going to stick to the stuns instead. I guess, you know, use the tried and true methods there. That's going to mean that Laxing will be able to stay here quite a lot longer, I would imagine. You can see SSG is pondering their options. They're not sure exactly what play to make, considering they've got that shield at the top of the stairs. I expect them to figure out how they want to deal with this soon. They're going to opt for a rush into study. Positioning faults in study means that Laxing has to watch 2 sides of that doorway. It's going to make his job a little bit harder. They've cleared out the ADSs and the magnets, and Laxing's just going to peel off. Foxay will reinforce the wall, and time wasted for SSG. Good job to Oxygen, Laxing in particular, to get that done, but yeah, the control is still established for the attack.
And right where that deployable shield and Laxi have been playing is now where Fultz will sit. He's been droned up towards that start of the hallway. Rampy from down below, presumably with those 2 frag grenades ready to deal some damage to the feet of OXG. Will take a tiny bit of damage from Foxay, watching that quite keenly. And now it's Rampy to make it up those stairs, and a frag grenade in hand, ready to get dropped onto the head of Foxay, but it'll go down, and all it'll do is take away any denial that might have been there. We can see that there's none present, though. It also shakes Foxay off of that spot, so With an exothermic charge, you can be very, very at risk of getting impact trick. And there's 2 impacts in the hands of Slash. That definitely could have been a consideration, but isn't at this particular time. A smoke from Fox A tossed out towards the top of main stairs will hold Foltz at bay for now, and a shotgun in hand will mean the death of anybody from Space Station who gets too close. There goes a drone and another toxic canister from Fox A as he patrols this one area. Down below, a frag grenade goes up. A bunch of damage done to Fox A, but not quite enough. The hunters from SSG are going to need to be a little bit quicker as we're 10 seconds left and everybody is still alive in this server. Foltz decides to try to pounce on it, but Foxe gets the opening pick on Narampi. Only 2 seconds left and 8 people still alive? No diffuser going down. That's a mess, and what a hold from Oxygen. They just bleed that timer dry, and Space Station had no chance to use the clock correctly. OXG will take the opening round here on Villa and in the series.
So, of course, there's not really much more to talk about in that round other than Laxing's position at the top of main stairs. He delayed for a little over half the round, I'd say about 2 solid minutes. And that's more than you can expect or should expect from anyone. SSG would have been better off throwing their bodies haphazardly at the problem than letting the time bleed away. I gotta say, also, props to Laxing for having the awareness to fall off of top main after his welcome had worn out. That's great game sense for Laxing, and you got to commend him for that. SSG almost managed it. If you gave them maybe 5 more seconds, they probably would have been able to make that execution happen. You can see the plant was about to start going down. SSG was picking up the kills, but just too little too late. So, nice try there for SSG. You can expect them to start to ramp it up as we go along here. And speed up those attacks, but Oxygen certainly happy about taking that first one.
You're gonna need a couple more of those. It was a good waste of time, and it certainly seemed like SSG also got tripped up at the top of the main stairs. That's where Foltz was waiting. Rampy had been there for just a moment as well. And after the peel back from OXG and that reinforcement went up, that quick rotate that could have been still in play, it forced Space Station to, after they got the aviator wall, to immediately, or they got the games wall technically inside a study, they immediately had to pivot and get the other side of that same wall, just on the other side of the bar. And they did it with, I think, 12 seconds left, but there were still at least 2 toxic canisters. I think the second one got tossed out almost immediately by Foxe, who did an impeccable job. And I noted when we saw him on the smoke that it's not exactly a role that he plays so often. It's not usually the operator when he's on defense, or Oxygen's on defense rather, that we see him use. He did it masterfully. The rest of the team didn't really need to sweat. I think Slash got the very final kill, and there were still 7 people alive when the round ended, if my arithmetic is correct. So, and I mean, it's also an Echo that was still up. So you've not just got plant denial, you've got those 2 yokais, you've got tons of intel. There was no way that OXG was going to be able to lose that round, even if, as you said, they, SSG needed an extra 5 seconds. So,
well, still some roamers upstairs for Oxygen. Slow clear once again for SSG. You can see they're aware of the potential player upstairs, and Laxing will fall back as I believe his shield might have been destroyed by that nade. Yes, indeed. So, shield destroyed. Laxing retreats. Once again, lots of time wasted. Half the round for SSG to use their sledge to good effect, as well as their IQ. They can use that IQ sensor to look through the floor, destroy a bunch of the electronics in the site, maybe kill someone who's on camp. Pre-play C4? Nope, just going to be wasted C4 for Foxe, and nothing will come of that. Laxing moves his roam from all the way upstairs down into the basement, so he'll be trying to probably hold on to storage along with Vertical. So you've got 2 players on the defense all the way in the bottom floor. The other 3 probably anchoring in the site as we near the last minute of the round. And this really could go either way, considering there's no kills so far in this round. Once again, a very slow match.
Vertical on those stairs from the pantry in the basement. He's doing his best Laxing impression, waiting to strike very, very quietly. Very, very quietly. If he can possibly catch somebody, who knows? Soft destruction work from above. Keep your eyes on exactly what Vertical is able to pull off. Fultz down below takes out Laxing. Laxing doing his best Laxing impersonation. And what a missed opportunity from Fultz as Vertical is able to pounce on that one. And a belated refrag with a frag grenade of its own getting tossed out. It connects onto Biologic. Fox 8 with one on the Canadian. Those were the two men in our polls. Another from Slash before he's finished off. And now it's OXG in a 2v1. Thinking Nade with 12 seconds left. He'll have to grab that diffuser. And he has no idea where anybody's going to be coming from. 6 seconds, 5 seconds, doesn't matter. A couple bullets to the chest, and that's Foxay finishing things off. He's had a great 2 rounds so far. He keeps it up. Oxygen's chances will inevitably continue to rise, and OXG finds themselves up 2-0.
Okay, that round was a little bit scrambled. There are a lot of things to pick apart. The main thing, though, once again, I think it looked like time was the issue for SSG. They're playing a little bit slow, a little bit too slow. A little bit too carefully, and it's costing them because Oxygen's not really probing that hard. They aren't putting players in a position to get a crazy early pick. Now, they've done that a little bit. Not as much as I would expect, though. For example, Laxing. Yeah, he was roaming upstairs, but he was in the corner of Astro, and yeah, maybe he could have gotten a pick off his shield, but he shouldn't have been able to waste half the round from that position, and he did. It's the same thing he did in the first round. These problems need to be dealt with, I think, a lot sooner for SSG, because after they run out of all that time, you could see them start to scramble, start to say, okay, wow, we really need to hit the site. Let's go, go, go. And as they get into that process, SSG starts to realize, oh, wow, we don't have enough time. Perfectly synchronized. It was beautiful. SSG need to just be a little bit quicker on the draw. I think that maybe they're overthinking it right now. That's the way it looks to me. When you consider that they're so slow on the uptake to the clear, and then on top of that, they're not getting any picks on the upstairs clear. They did manage to get Laxing down below, but that's a transition. And again, since it's happening so late, it's actually not that useful. I mean, Laxing's already done his job at that point. Look at the man. He has 0 kills, 2 assists, and 2 deaths right now. And he's one of the most impactful players in this match thus far. So, time. Serious issue for SSG.
I think that was one of the biggest negatives about them as well in their earlier matchup against Dark Zero, and it was touched upon by a bunch of commentators on social media. It was something that I picked up on when I was watching the match, and I think the analysts took a pretty good crack at it as well. Dark Zero, a team that is known for maybe getting stuck in a rut when things don't go according to plan in a round, were making great calls on the fly. Eclipse in particular was really playing out of his mind, and you know, I think both he and Skies were reacting extremely well through the mid-round, and then, of course, Hot and Cold, too, on Hard Breach, as he always does. It was, to me, the Achilles heel of Space Station was that they couldn't really seem to adapt to what Dark Zero was throwing at them. They were the team that seemed like they were a bit stuck in the mud and didn't really know how to deal with the things that were being presented by their opponents. If that keeps up, then a team like Oxygen, which can be quite slippery, and you know, it's not even just Laxing. He's gonna sit center stage when we talk about unpredictability factors, when we talk about elusiveness. Laxing is always the man that comes up, especially in this region. But Vertical is capable of doing it. Foxay is capable of doing it as well. Well, you've got that 1-2 punch on site of Slash and Bio. So if SSG are not capable of finding their footing at some point, and I mean, it's Villa and it's OXG on defense. You can't, that was a beautiful play, by the way. Speaking of finding their footing, Fultz is not going to, as I stop to watch that excellent coordination on the Yokai, and Slash pops out and just crushes Fultz. Fultz had a bad first game against Dark Zero. We said a long time ago, if Fultz doesn't have a good set, you know, if Fultz has a bad game, he's not going to have a bad one again. Well, you better hope if you're SSG, that's not the case. Second kill from OXG, and my diatribe is done because we're a minute left into this round, and OXG has a 2-person lead.
SSG, a little bit quicker to the draw, at least, this round. Unfortunately, it's not working out for them in the engagements. Lots of individual engagements we're seeing for SSG. Overextension as well. If Fultz is pushed up all the way and they don't have control of that connecting room, then there's a problem. Ooh, Echo exposed himself. And, well, Rampy's having none of that. Foxay will go down. It was a bad move to peek like that when they weren't sure about master control. So, Oxygen gives a lifeline to SSG and a chance. The Slash on low HP. It's certainly possible, though he's still got his 3 gas canisters. He can delay for quite a long time. What a nade! Vertical goes down. Rampy picking up the big frags here. Gas canister will force him back, but he knows where his opponent is and the shield. He'll use the nade to get that shield. and it'll work. That allows for the push in through Statuary. Meanwhile, Thinking Aid will get a pick on Trophy. Slash goes down, and suddenly this is very winnable for SSG. They do need to get that plant down, and once again, the time is a major factor here. The Peak sees the planter, but misses the shot. The C4 gets taken midair, and oh no, just in the nick of time, Rampy has to cover in the 1v2. It's Biologic should be able to get the pistol kill here on the planter, and he does it! Just as the plant goes down, a 4K for Bio, and Oxygen get their third round.
So masterfully played by Biologic there. Goodness gracious, Rampy not understanding exactly where the opponents were, and Oxygen looked like they were really risking it all by having both members of that team peek the exact same doorway into Statuary, but it works out quite well. Works out very effectively, and hilariously, a gun that Canadian has talked a lot of smack about, the Roni, ends up being the saving grace for OXG. What a masterful retake that is by Oxygen, and they find themselves with the trifecta, the perfect cycle completed. And now round number 4 begins on Aviator Games anew. Probably the best round that we had seen at a space station just yet, as things are getting progressively better for SSG, and they're settling into the groove of attacking, but they've still come up short. For Oxygen, I can only imagine that that round in particular was a massive, massive confidence boost.
Yeah, and on the other hand, for SSG, that's got to be crippling. I mean, Rampy did so much work there, right? He's picking off one player after another from Master, which, by the way, huge oversight for Oxygen to let Master slip away for free. Rampy just walked in there. He didn't meet any kind of fight as he entered in through Master, and then he gets basically one free kill, we'll call it, and then another beautifully placed nade, and that's another kill. Both of Rampy's nades got a shield as well. We cannot undervalue that. Each of those shields was facing one of the 2 entry points, the 2 bottlenecks, as you come from top red or landing. And both of those shields were dealt with by Rampy. And yet, SSG still can't make it happen. Some really narrow engagements, though, and that easily could have gone both ways. Unfortunately for Space Station, it goes Oxygen's way. And one thing I think we can say safely, after only 3 rounds, Oxygen are certainly playing a different game than the one we just witnessed about half an hour prior.
Especially on a map like Villa, where Oxygen showed their struggles against SSG in the rubber match, I guess you could call it. The second time these two teams bashed their skulls against each other just a couple weeks ago, and what was a battle for supremacy, really. It was to see which team would be first overall. Of course, SSG won that fabled rematch. This is the rematch of the initial match. AKA, this is literally the best of 3, and it's a best of 3. Bacon tweeted something, by the way, if you follow Bacon from Dark Zero, former player, former coach. I know you do, Michael. I meant the people.
They ought to.
The people. You ought to follow Bacon. He's been doing an excellent job with Dark Zero. Dark Zero, of course, I think surprised a fair amount of people today with their performance. It shouldn't be all that surprising given the way they've played in the past, but I think Bosco was very honest in the pre-show where he said that, you know, they've seemed to had some struggles. They know they're not playing like themselves. Well, they certainly showed up big today. But anyway, Bacon tweeted that it was something like the best of 3 and a best of 3 in a third match on map 3 or something like that. I don't know. It hurt my brain.
Yeah,
it hurt my brain, but it applies here as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of layers, right? And I, for one, I'm grateful, again, for those storylines that we've managed to have built up through this first season of this format. I really like it. I'm a huge fan. And the Major has not disappointed either. I think we've had some really great matches.
It was very kind of Rampy to open the hatch for Vertical.
Yeah.
So now Vertical can live up to his namesake, and he can get real vertical and descend from the second floor to the first floor. A perfect flank route opened up. This is a similar setup from OXG, by the way, on this Aviator Games defense, with it being mostly stacked up towards the top main stairs. Not quite as aggressive a hold as we find of Study, as that appears to be the main point of entry. I wonder if the jig is up. Yes, it is. The Jaeger is spotted, but nobody quick to the punch from SSG. And instead, Vertical's just going to swing, and he misses for the most part. It looks like he might have done some damage to Canadian, doesn't get the target that he wants. He retreats to main stairs with 30 seconds left in the round. SSG will need to be better with time than they were in the very first round, and they'll get the opening pick and it will just continue to stack up. 2 kills, 1 from Laxing will try to bring the numbers closer together as Bosco falls, the best player from the matchup earlier against Dark Zero. Toxic Canisters getting hucked on out. No plant being attempted, but Canadian is only on a tick of HP, Michael, so he'll die if he breathes any of that Toxic Canister. SSG waiting for the sound of that starting gun is thinking Nade will need to attempt the plant. Swinging on in, down goes Slash as it's well played from Rampy. He's going to take some damage as Foxy finds the cross and 2 big kills, with the time again giving it to Oxygen. 4-0 for OXG on SSG's map. They put their stamp on this first half, and SSG just simply need to be better.
So let's pick this apart a little bit, because certainly SSG need to be better. And of course, for everybody watching right now, the pretty obvious point here is that Space Station's attacks are too slow. The dilemma in that round seemed to be multiple different points, actually. It was a split take for SSG. They wanted to take top red, they wanted to take top main, and crush the site between them. That didn't happen. It didn't happen for a number of reasons. One, the Oxygen play. They were very aggressive. We saw, for example, Vertical, you were talking about him at the top of main. He did a great job in delaying, even just being spotted around the corner and then falling back, staying alive. That is significant. That gives Oxygen a leg up. And little things like that, they start to stack up as the round goes on. For example, a shield placed in the hallway by the rotate from the main bar to the hallway, but facing 90. That shield allows Oxygen to play through the rotate that they made and to hinder a push from 90 for the attack. So now you've got no hard destruction coming into play because there's not enough time, and because Vertical is getting so aggressive, delaying and denying the push into study. And you've got a split push with barely any time left on the clock and a total of 4 entry points. Your landing entry point, your study entry point, the rotation made, and the West Hall door itself. You could really call it 3. 3 bottlenecks defense has to hold. And they have to hold those bottlenecks with just 20 seconds left on the round. No picks for SSG. That's the real issue. There's nothing coming of this aggressive play you're seeing from Oxygen. No punishment at all. And it's punishing SSG in turn, I guess.
The cojones from Vertical as he gets droned out over by Study and then still takes the engagement anyway onto Fultz. And, well, the one thing to keep an eye on if you're a fan of SSG is going to be how well Fultz is capable of performing. He had a rough match against Dark Zero. You need better performances out of him. He had a rough match against OXG the very first time these two teams matched up, and was it Playday number 4, I believe it was. So if he isn't capable of showing up, that's a tough spot to be in, because he's on a roll where he needs to find the scoreboard. So, but with that said, SSG's entry has managed to scare Vertical over towards Trophy. It's a kitchen defense, so Vertical is but 1 leap and bound towards the bomb site, and a C4 almost claims 2 members of Space Station as it blows up at the feet of both Fultz and Rampy. That could have been a rough spot to be in. They managed to survive for now, but we're halfway through the round, and it seems like SSG are still having some time just trying to discover where those pesky Vault cams are and how they want to get in towards the bomb sites.
Oh no. This is Foxy behind the attack. He's going to break Art door to look for some opportunities, but speaking of opportunities, Fultz will get Laxing. So, remember how we just talked about how the roam is not being punished? Well, lo and behold, punishment. And this time it doesn't come far too late. It comes before we hit the last 60 seconds. That is a good pick. Now, we've seen that pick before. Generally, it's answered back by Oxygen. We even saw it on this very same site. And so far, just a little bit of calm and more delay work going on here. Oxygen is very spread, as you can see. Only 1 player on the site, 1 close. That's Vertical as he's playing by the staircase. But 2 roamers, 1 by living room and Foxy attempting to get back upstairs. There's potential for some serious work to be done by those roamers, and by the looks of the setup, the round will be made or broken by the roamers' presence.
Canadian will manage to open up that typical panel, but a nitro cell goes out and actually grabs the exothermic charge. A good use of that explosive as Biologic finds the scoreboard for OXG on this round. Fultz comes back to life. That's 2 kills for him so far, as Bio's going to have to fight his way out, and Ollie's going to go through the bicycle storage, and he's got the window to possibly vault on through. Upstairs control from the ashes. SSG is going to need to just watch intently as Canadian goes for a plant. Bosco flattened by the TCSG, and then down goes Thinking Nade. There's 2 big kills from Vertical. We'll get on the scoreboard, and another from Biologic. Space Station have fallen out of orbit. It's 5-0 for Oxygen, and they only have 1 more round left before they go on to attack. Match point is within their grasps.
The same thing that happened the last time SSG attacked on a kitchen, but in slightly different format. In this case, SSG once again got control of the top floor, and once again, it amounted to very little. The vertical pressure applied by the holes opened by the sledge was none. Basically, didn't matter. A big part of that has to do with those roamers for Oxygen. The roamers were so prevalent in the round, far off site, picking away at the sides of SSG, making them get distracted. Little things like that, they really do matter. And chip away at the seconds that you have available as an attacking team. Not only that, if we're talking about seconds, that exothermic charge getting destroyed by the C4, massively worth it. That shaved off 15 seconds or so, maybe a little bit less, but a good chunk of time. When you've only got 30 seconds, that's massive. All of these little exchanges keep going the way of Oxygen. And yeah, Laxing got picked off. And yeah, Laxing's 1, 3, and 4. But you know who's influencing this match quite a lot? Well, it's Laxing. And yeah, everyone on Oxygen is contributing to the success we're seeing here. For example, apart from the roamers, the anchors on site. We're usually looking at 2, maybe 3 anchors for Oxygen. Sometimes even 1. And those anchors know exactly when they need to expose themselves and when they need to stay safe. They know when to expect SSG's execution into the site itself, and every time that awareness has worked for Oxygen. The delay, coupled with the non-exposed anchors who wait for the last few seconds, great combo.
I talked last round about the brazenness that we saw from Vertical, and Foxay is going to do his best version of it this time as he hops out on the Vigil and nearly catches somebody from SSG off guard, but they had the better, I guess the better retort there. As Foxay scampers off with 25 HP less than he had before he hopped out that window. This is a big play from OXG, and I mean, how many times do we have to talk about a team that is playing loose and isn't playing with expectations on their shoulders and how well they are capable of doing, Michael? I mean, you look at a team like Space Station, they are the defending champions, technically. I mean, I guess the Invitational was a major. SSG is still defending, at least in this region, even though everything's kind of broken up into their own mini-majors. OXG came in with a bit of a limp, as they didn't have the strongest end of the first stage, and, well, they're going to be playing with minimal expectations. You know, you're not the defending world champs. SSG are, and in fact, they are now trailing and in a very bad spot on their map.
I love the awareness. Here's the thing. Yes, SSG are playing poorly. I will say that. But I also think that a big part of that is the awareness for Oxygen. Oh, looks like possibly a rush here. Vertical's going to run straight into 3 SSG attackers. And, well, Space Station gets control of the B bomb site. We'll start going for that diffuser plant. That's a second one for Fultz on the entry. He's got Astro Control hiding behind the desk. He will get a 3rd and a 4th, but not the ace. Canadian picks up that last kill, and SSG absolutely sweep away that round.
Rampy, chew with your mouth closed, for God's sakes. It's 2020, young man.
I was going to say
You're
something.
not a kid anymore!
I was going to say something about something, but I don't even remember what it was, because that round just, wow.
That round was a small breath of fresh air for SSG, but you could tell the looks on their faces. They're obviously not that pumped up. And this is a team that likes to shout like barbarians when they win a round. And, well, both Rampy and Troy had a bit of nervousness on their faces. And I mean, I think that's for pretty good reason. You are, we cannot stress this enough. You are on your map and you are getting beaten. Now, with a map like Villa, the way that historically it plays out, you expect the defense to win 4 of those 6 rounds. 5-1 can make a sizable difference because now all Oxygen needs to do to guarantee overtime, at which they are not on defense. We should make note of that. It'll be SSG on defense twice if it goes to overtime. All Oxygen needs to do to at least guarantee overtime is a single round. That's it. The likelihood of any team winning 6 in a row, which is what SSG would need to do, they need to go perfect on the staff in order to win it, it is tiny. We've seen it. How many times? Maybe enough on 2 hands between all the professional Rainbow Six that we've watched over the last couple of years. So Oxygen's sitting very pretty right now. They're obviously going to have confidence on their side, and barring that last round, of which, by the way, Fultz has very much woken up. 4 kills on that round obviously does wonders to your stat line, but on top of that, he'd been semi-impactful in a couple rounds prior. He's waking up at the right time for this team. If you see the same out of Thinking Nate or Bosco or Canadian, all of whom are also not having the greatest run on the scoreboard, then I think SSG has a fighting chance. But it's going to be tough. Honestly, this is a very bad spot to be in for Space Station right now.
It certainly is. I remember what I was going to talk about now. Oxygen read into the SSG Villa playbook, clearly. They're very aware of what they're dealing with here, and obviously they've got past experience. Because on that first half, Oxygen knew exactly what they were going to do. They knew they were going to delay. They knew the roamers were going to force the drones to do more work. And they were going to just prioritize staying alive until the last few seconds. And Oxygen did exactly that. It finally got figured out by SSG at the last round. That's the thing that's most interesting. SSG did adapt. They did figure out what Oxygen were doing. They figured out how to counter it. It was way too late, though. You know, last round of your first half. And that's when you figure out what you're doing. It was unfortunate. At least now SSG knows that Oxygen is on them. They know that Oxygen has a certain level of awareness of what SSG typically does on this map. And because of that, Space Station will be able to adjust their play slightly, even on the defensive half. So they're staying on something. For right now, it's focused on opening up the wall. There's a thermite in play. There's cleared out from below. As you can see, Oxygen, they were forced to clear out below because of these holes in the floor. And now it'll be a nade comboed with the exothermic in an attempt to open that wall. Magnet catches the nade, which means that Thinking Nade can impact trick the first exo. Doesn't look like there's going to be... Okay, there is going to be a second nade, followed up by a second exothermic. Ooh, impact is baited out. Thinking Nade just whiffed massively. That's the second impact, which means there's no more to deny this thermite. He can open up the wall. Great job to Bio faking out the placement. I think. Am I wrong? No, I'm wrong.
You are wrong.
Yeah, I'm wrong.
He had already started the second exothermic charge. 3 nades actually involved in that. Frag grenade, impact nade, thinking nade. And thinking nade ends up being the better nade.
Anyway.
Of the 3, actually, of the 3, he ends up being the better one. And yeah,
So
that's huge. Biologic lost both of his exothermic charges. It was very nearly a fake out. It looked like Bio was trying that, and he immediately just goes on that drone. And I can imagine in a bit of a point of frustration as the defense coming alive, down goes Laxing, another from Rampy. He's got 2 so far. He's headhunting, and he'll find verticals to add to his tally. 3 members of Oxygen, and they're going to need to go for broke here. Poison waiting at the window is Fultz. He'll shred through Slash, dropping 1, looking for a second, but it's a team kill. Foxay, the culprit, who now finds himself in a only losable situation. It's 2 in a row from Space Station as they take their debut on defense in a much more convincing fashion. And I think what we are starting to see, even though it's just 1 round, I might be getting ahead of myself, is the fact that this is going to be an absurdly defender-sided Villa. So buckle up because we will likely go the distance here, at least if that round is any judge.
Oh, my bad about that call. I don't have game sound, so I didn't hear the exothermic start to go off. I did not think that he could hit that impact. But
what are you, like, partially deaf or something?
Yes, I am half deaf.
What?
Yeah. In my right ear. Crazy. Tinnitus, too. Let's go.
I had. Oh.
But I didn't hear the exothermic nor see it, so my bad. But yeah, good job to Thinking Aid for denying that wall getting opened up. SSG looking a lot stronger on defense. Once again, something that I'm really interested in, there's a distinct lack of Thatcher. Instead, both teams opting to bring a set of nades to try and deny things like impact tricking. Obviously, Thatcher's not going to deny impact tricking, but what he will do is enable those nades to be more effective by getting magnets and ADSs. I'm just curious as to why that is. There's also a lot of soft destruction going on the attack. It's working out fairly well for the attack, I'd say, even though we've only got 1 successful attacking round. that particular functionality is not, I think, what's hindering both of these teams so much. In that last round, Oxygen did their best to get the wall open. I think they came pretty close, but yeah, they just need to be able to deal with pushing the impactor off of the wall a little bit better. Probably some soft destruction from below. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of options you got at your disposal. In this round,
you know that there's going to be an ADS or a magnet somewhere nearby, right? I mean, you saw that. The one thing SSG I think did a little bit better was how they were able to attack that wall in comparison to OXG. Now, obviously, the Knight is still very young here, as there will need to be at least one more trophy statuary defense for Space Station. So we'll likely get to see it again. And that's one of the changes that actually happened quite recently. He used to have a deployable shield, but Echo lost it, and in were swapped the impact grenades, which actually have played to his strengths. If he can just sit on the bomb site, he can impact quite successfully. It was a role that Kaid has played in the past. It's a role that Goyo has played. It's a role that Maestro's played, Smoke as well. So you just cycle through whichever operators you think is going to work best. That's a missed opportunity from Rampy as he just confronts head first the bursting ash of Slash, thinking Nade's taking a bit of damage too, and a castle with 50 HP, UMP in hand. He's not going to be that formidable of a fight. So this is not the start that I think you want if you're Space Station. It goes from bad to worse as Laxing takes the head off of Fultz. That was the Wamai trying to get back towards the bomb site and a crude angle being held from Laxing. That'll break this round wide open. And we just hit the halfway mark. So 90 seconds left for OXG to continue to punish Space Station and look to get match point.
Crucial difference between the attacking half of SSG and the attacking half of Oxygen, at least in this round. Those picks are so important, and there's been no bounce back yet for SSG. Still winnable for the defense, though. I mean, some opportune kills here and there, and this starts to sway back in towards Space Station's favor. We're not there yet, though. A whole minute for Oxygen to do what they want. They're going to go for a laundry wall. They will, it sounds like, yes, they will get it open. Now, there was, potentially, there were some C4s to do some work there, but a push from Thinking Nade is going to actually result in his demise. Canadian and Bosco now in a 2v3, or 2v4, actually. It's not 2 for Space Station, it's an exchange there. Bosco now has to hold on the Fuser and get 4 kills. He's already got 1, and he'll get no more. Nice try there for Bosco, but Oxygen just had the better execution. I love Oxygen's use of angles in that round.
And that's match point for them too. Yeah, Laxing in particular, you saw that angle where he was prone watching the staircase with the soft destruction opened up. And I mean, Villa is a very hard breach heavy map. There is that cut and thrust that happens around, whether it be a Maverick cutting open the wall, whether it be Hibana from long range if she's not banned often, if it's a Thermite and the exothermic charge and the soft destruction that's done in hand. There's so many different ways that you can open up these bomb sites, and they are always heavily fortified. But we don't often talk about the soft destruction aspect of Villa in the same way, and we especially don't talk about it from a horizontal standpoint. Yeah, we dive into the verticality of it, how you're going to take trophy and statuary, and you're going to want a sledge or a buck to open up that floor so you can reveal the bomb site of kitchen down below, or literally just reverse that if the bomb site is trophy statuary above. And one of the teams that we got to see for the very first time ever and how they were able to put a good impact on Villa with that soft destruction was actually a team that Fox A was on. It was the Beast Coast roster, which would then become Cloud9. They have obviously a lot of experience with it. And OXG really shined in that round. They were able to show that you can still put in plenty of horizontal soft destruction. You can catch the defenders off guard. And once that first pick came out, onto, I believe it was Rampy, and then immediately followed up by Fultz, who had to try to get back to the bomb site to shore up the defense that was left in somewhat pieces from Rampy being dropped. Well, SSG just kind of fell apart, and we got to see the sophistication from Oxygen's entry, and we got to see it work really well to pick off SSG and isolate those players trying to get back to the bomb site. With that said, it's match point, Michael, on Space Station's map.
So, I can tell you, of course, this can be wrong, as, you know, things can just be down to chance sometimes. But what I'm seeing here through these rounds, through this map, is that this map was already won for Oxygen in practice, not in the actual match. They obviously put a lot of effort into preparing for Villa, at least into practicing and refining their Villa, because this is the best Villa we've seen from Oxygen in recent history. by far. And they're also taking a team who typically play well on this map already to a disadvantaged scoreline. So I for one I want to say that Oxygen won this just by being more prepared, and you could see that in the confidence in their angle play, the awareness of what their opponent's going to do, and the fact that they're right about those guesses, or what appear to be guesses for us, or probably more likely assessments based on practice and, again, like I said, research.
Oh
Laxing
my.
will take down Fultz. That's by books, so that's some of the top main pressure alleviated for the attack.
That was not who he wanted, but it's who he got anyway. He was looking for Rampy, and when you're angling for a big fish and you get a bigger fish, well, that goes quite the way. What a play from Bosco. It sounds like he actually exhausts his shotgun ammo. Was that the call that I just heard right there? Out of mags? We're going to have to watch that. Another from Bosco. He doesn't need the shotgun, as the SMG-11 is more than formidable enough, and he'll find his second kill to give SSG an advantage. But both Rampy and Bosco are a lot worse for wear. They're wearing it well, but they're still in a very bad spot. Rampy with just a tiny bit of HP, Bosco at about 25. They will die to a single bullet from most of the guns that exist in this game, so they are in rough spot. Bosco still has some insurance, though. A beautiful shot from Fox A's. He'll pick off the remainder of Rampy. There wasn't much there for him. And now OXG are going to creep up over towards Classical Hallway. 40 seconds left on this showdown, with Oxygen looking to put a dagger into the heart of Space Station on their own map. And we're going to have 30 seconds to see if it accelerates.
So far, a calm before the storm. Bosco being on low HP could be the real crippling blow here, but he's still got his 2 gas canisters, and if he uses them well, that could be all that matters. Great angle here from Echo, and it's Canadian, actually, to get the kill onto Vertical as he attempts to push in through the west door. Bosco gets his 3rd kill. Big round from him. Now it's all Foxe. He has to find 3 heads, and with the Yokai drone and the gas canisters, it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Yokai will finish it off if he attempts to plant, so he has to go for the fights, and it's unwinnable. SSG will stem the bleeding for now and keep themselves in this map.
That one went from pretty good to, oh my goodness, we're losing very quickly, and a lot of that was the Bosco play. I think there was some confidence from Oxygen after they got that initial pick from Laxing down below. They assumed that by keeping somebody on that first floor, they would be able to patrol the main avenues out of the doorways into either the top of Classical Hall, either towards the top of main stairs, maybe even a rotate into study. It depends on where Laxing was positioned as that buck. But their study viewpoint was obviously not good enough, and they're going to need to study a little harder, as Bosco seemed to be playing off of a Yokai drone, or maybe even a Valk cam. It doesn't matter what it was, but there was certainly some information there at his disposal, so he could play with that confidence and be able to peek the doorway and then immediately get prepared for a second push from Oxygen. And I think Oxygen played that well, as they knew that the moment that Bosco swung with the shotgun, you can try to go for a refrag. That's usually the spot you want to be in, but Bosco was armed and dangerous. He was playing off of the deployable shield inside a gun vault, and he was very ready for it. You still have Valk cams up, you still have Yokai drones up, and now the advantage that OXG had is totally vanished. You're going to play a little bit more conservatively. OXG stacks up by the top of Classical Hall, and, well, they're going to be walking right into the waiting arms of the Echo, who was playing inside a vault, as you saw, with a crossfire from Canadian and then a Yokai drone, and both of the bomb sites prepped and ready for wherever the push came from. Ultimately, a pretty solid defense from Space Station. Nothing really wrong from OXG. They lost a couple gunfights, and they obviously didn't have the full coverage, especially on that study swing. Bosco dies, Michael peeking study, and that's probably a very different round, because that also means that the only person who was actively holding over an aviator, barring the top of red stairs, would have had to rotate with Bosco going down. So still match point for Oxygen. There's going to be a clash out for Space Station here, as it's a trophy and statuary defense. So something we haven't seen between these two teams yet so far in this matchup.
Okay, so once again, it's going to be a master take for Oxygen, which means once again they will have to clear out down below. The clash is going to be massive, as you said. We haven't seen it. We'll see if it has as much influence as we expect it to. Typically, Clash does a lot of work as an operator. So I think in this case, the delay that's going to happen by Master is going to be a huge factor, especially considering that both teams have been struggling somewhat with the time. Less so Oxygen, of course, but maybe this is going to be the thing to change that. So far, nothing really eventful happening. set up finalizing. Rampy going to be roaming on the far south side of the top floor, but there's no clear to deal with, so he'll just chill over there until it's time for him to return to the site. Or maybe he'll try to deal with the problem downstairs. You can see Laxing is doing what we thought might be a good idea earlier. He's opening up below with soft destruction to try and dissuade the Echo from impact tricking. Still 2 impacts in Echo's pocket, so it's not worked just yet. He's just chilling by the wall.
One of those exothermic charges went off onto the closet wall, so you've got an entry point towards the bathroom for Oxygen if they want it. They can't really get the control of Master because, as you can see, it's being spearheaded on defense by none other than Canadian. And the clash is going to be quite an impediment, as you need a Zofia, who's been strangely absent from OXG's lineup, to really deal with her. Maybe even a Capitao. There's not an awful lot on OXG's side right now that can really effectively punish that clash. So they're going to have to work together to do this. All the while, they're going to have to be wary about possibly getting flanked, as Bosco seems in position to do that through, as I'd mentioned, that opening inside of the closet. Exothermic charge is as good as gone, so the impact grenades from Thinking Nade work effectively. It takes 2 of them, but it doesn't matter because there's no other hard destruction that's going to be able to do much, especially since there's no Maverick present. Nibbana is banned. Only 40 seconds left, and the opening pick from the round is going to come from the defense. Fultz will open things up, and all the rest of SSG feeling shades of envy, and they'll decide it's my turn as they pass around the carcass of OXG, with Bosco as well as Rampy both getting a bite. In this instance, just pretend that they're lions, I guess, and that OXG's like a gazelle. I don't really know. 20 seconds left. There's still a clash on the board. This is surely going to be an SSG hold. They're just waiting very patiently. Call is made. Bosco with 1. Secondary fire from Bosco, but Canadian's going to distract him at the top of Armory. Are they going to give him the kill, or are they just going to toy with their food? Fultz will be the one to finish it off. A flawless round from SSG, and they'll take their 4th round of the last 5.
So, Oxygen tried something different to open the wall this time. They bucked from below, but they couldn't get all of the floor, and thus Echo's still allowed to impact trick. Lots of time spent on that. Nothing came of it. Wall not opened. Clash working out very well. Delaying for quite a long time. And, well, Oxygen dies as they throw their bodies into the bottlenecks. That's about the story, really, for the round. It was a nice try, though. I'm curious. Does the cubby thing not work, where you can make a hole in the wall? Did they change that, where you place your exothermic charge and some soft destruction, or were the walls reinforced the other way? It's possible, but whatever it is that's causing that wall to stay up. I mean, there's always a solution to impervious, seemingly impervious, I guess, wall. You can always get it open somehow. And it's just not been working out for Oxygen. Big part of that, of course, is going to be the play from SSG, from their Echo, the impact tricking going on there. It's been great work. But that wall has stumped Oxygen now twice, and it's clearly quite a problem for them. They might want to consider maybe a different strategy on attack altogether, or a different way of getting the wall open. And there are many tools they haven't used that they could potentially use to get that wall open. Now it's going to be a kitchen defense, though, so times change, sites change. Another opportunity for Oxygen to assert their dominance and take this map number 1. But they are starting to lose control. It's noticeable, to be sure. And I got to be worried for Oxygen at this point. They've won their 1 round on attack so far, so there's potential for SSG to mimic Oxygen's first half and bring this to OT. I mean, we're only 2 rounds away from that potential moment.
And they've made a change on Oxygen's side, and that's that the thermite experiment has ended. Biologic has gone ice cold when it comes to the score sheet, but his utility play is what needs to be even better. He's had some significant degree of difficulty on that hard breach roll so far today. It was noted in the very initial matchup against TSM that, well, Biologic was, he died trying to get the exothermic charge off or his hard breach off something like 5 times in a row. That's the rough spot to be in, and I know that a lot of hard breach mains in professional play can commiserate with that, with the circumstances that Biologic found himself in. So this time, instead of being at the mercy of an impact grenade, go to a Maverick. It might be a bit of a safer bet. You need to be wary of a C4, but other than that, you have enough ample time to be able to get that wall open. You're not going to be impeded by a secondary gadget the same way that an exothermic charge from Thermite would.
Certainly not. TikTok. We don't have top floor control.
Oh, TikTok's banned.
For Oxygen. They're working on it, though. Thinking Aiden Foltz could be roaming upstairs, and they're trying to just delay a little bit longer, it seems. Wall should get opened up. Now, this is actually... they get rid of the thermite as the wall is not being denied. They'll lose one from below to a C4. That's Bosco downing, I believe, with a shotgun, finishing off with the C4. And, well, Foltz does get picked off upstairs. So it's an even exchange, but certainly in the favor of the defenses. They've just gotten the sledge. He's not going to be able to open up any more holes.
They've still got a buck, so you've got somebody to play that same role, though I'd imagine that Foxy and Laxing were tasked with very different ways of hitting the bomb site. They don't tend to play similar roles, so... Laxing will be upstairs in statuary. With this being a kitchen defense, you are going to be almost directly above the bomb site, and it's going to be crucial that Laxing stays alive as long as possible. He's looking for somebody down below, but he can't find it just yet. All the while, Biologic doing his job as that breacher torching open the wall. Missed opportunity for Thinking Nade as the UMP is in hand. Biologic gets downed, but Vertical with great coverage. His second kill, giving Oxygen an advantage, though Bio being down means that it is a 3v3. Buckle up for the final 10 seconds that could push Oxygen up to a 1-0 lead, but they'll run right into Bosco. Prone on the ground, he flattens Slash. 5 seconds left, and Vertical and Laxing will need to do their best, but no, they're all dead. We're going to need 12 rounds. As you can see, finally some emotion from Space Station. A critical final round of regulation will determine whether we are seeing Oxygen go up 1-0 or an extra 3 rounds here on Villa.
Bosco keeps coming up huge for his team. In that round, it seemed like Oxygen was going to be able to take it on the control alone. Yes, they were very slow on the attack, and yes, the roam was successful for SSG. The delay was a massive factor. However, when the transition to the site execution came out, Bosco was there to greet the majority of the attacking team. He held it down in the site, put up some big numbers. I think he got 3 there by himself. Whatever the case, Space Station, as a whole, rallying back, and it's been such a magnificent rally at that. Most of these rounds seemingly falling to the same exact issue that Space Station had on the first half. That is time. We've seen some fast attacks from Oxygen. We've seen them be lethal, but it's inconsistent so far. There's certainly... Space Station is certainly more comfortable on defense, and Oxygen is certainly... I think they've been the sharper team overall for the map, but that's starting to change as Space Station grow their confidence. And I think it's been pretty noticeable in the second half.
Foltz had a rough going at the start of that first half, but he caught fire and has continued to be good. Obviously not great, but good enough. Bosco, on the other hand, was ice cold until the side swap and is now proving why on defense so many people consider him to be, well, the clutch minister. I know that people use that term as a joke against players who are anything but clutch. But it's no joke. Bosco's no joke. And Space Station, because of it, now find themselves with an opportunity to put it on a defense. And as was mentioned when we were talking about this a couple rounds before, defense will be Space Station twice. So that's pretty significant. And they're doing a defense on Aviator games that looks identical to what we saw out of OXG and very similar to the previous Aviator defense that actually worked quite well for Space Station back in round number 9. They're going to go for a very quick reinforce. They're not going to bother at the top of main stairs as the 2 denial duos of both Rampy and Foltz will be positioned there. That's the Wamai and the Jaeger. They're at the top of classical stairs, and they'll be guarding that classical hallway. In fact, while also watching for a possible pivot over towards the study, which is where Foltz is looking right now.
Very different on that early reinforcement for SSD. Not what I expected. But they could still play the top main. They just won't have as easy a retreat. Since there's no 90 control as a priority, though, for Oxygen, it doesn't matter that much. Because if 90 is not being played, you can still make it back through the doorway. You don't have to have the hole in the wall. It just offers a quicker retreat. Not necessary here, though. Buck below, now he's got an opportunity to do some serious work, dislodging some of the anchors by the bar. Hasn't started on it just yet. Might be waiting for someone to drone him into bar, so he has hard information on his targets. So far, though, Oxygen have yet to take control of the top of main stairs, and that's the real dilemma here. They need to do that in order to execute into study. Bosco will get laxing, and it was from above, no less, which means that was probably Bosco shooting through a hole laxing made or something along those lines. Maybe through the drop down. Either which way about it, laxing's gone. Man advantage, SSG. On the precipice of overtime, it certainly seems like we're going to get there.
Yeah, especially with Bosco playing this way, you'll once again have to confront the fact that there's a Valkyrie and an Echo on the board. So lots of information, which if Vertical's not fragging, he's going to need to be discovering the location of those gadgets. So keep an eye on what he's going to be able to do. Biologic is off of Maverick, back onto Thermite. He's got both exothermic charges, but there's 40 seconds left, and you can see that Thinking Nate is in the best position possible to be able to throw that impact grenade and stop the exothermic charge from going off. All the while on the deep flank downstairs is Canadian, and he's got a C4, and there it goes. It's been tossed out, but we don't know if it's been detonated just yet. He might have had it go. Yeah, it did, over towards 90. One kill for Slash, answered back by Foltz. A quick rain for the Ash, and that'll be that. Once again, SSG in good position, and it will get better as Bio goes down now, too. Foltz repositioning with Diffuser just in his grasp, over by 90. The Viper's Den for OXG as they'll try to get it, but Bosco gets credited with his second kill, even though the Jaeger was there. Fox A an impactless frag, and overtime is on the menu. Space Station, what an impressive comeback. 5-1 on defense for both teams means that we've got 3 more rounds to settle this.
12 rounds, 2 attacking rounds. 1 for each team. Rough stuff for Oxygen, who find themselves on attack in overtime. That is rough stuff indeed. Now, Aviator Games, the first defense for Space Station, they're certainly feeling confident about that. And rightfully so. That last round was just another example of the Foltz and Bosco show. They're your hosts. They'll take it away from here. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It was beautiful stuff, really. Bosco, his gas canisters seemed to encompass the entire west hallway. His discipline on when to use those gas canisters is what I find most impressive. Where most players will use the gas canisters to whittle down starting at the 45-second mark, Bosco waited a little bit longer because he knew he could, because he knew what his enemy was doing, because he's in their minds. And it worked. Well done to Bosco for his awareness and his ability to make the push through that west hallway a living nightmare. Meanwhile, despite it already being extremely difficult thanks to Bosco's efforts as the smoke, Foltz is all the while coming up on the north hallway leading to 90. He sweeps up 2 easy kills. Could have gotten the third, as you mentioned. But no matter how you look at it, Oxygen's already dealing with one massive problem, the anchors, and then Foltz is coming up from behind. Unwinnable at that point, especially after Foltz just didn't lose his fights. Well done to SSG. Amazing rally back.
This is the composure that you expect to see out of them, and I mean, there's a reason why, even when basically getting pummeled by Ninjas in Pajamas, Space Station was able to come back. This was something that was missing from Oxygen in the TSM matchup. OXG did not have that fortitude to be able to pull themselves back from the brink, and they sunk deeper and deeper into the void, and well, they didn't exactly have the best second map after a bad first map, and that's why they are here now. For SSG, this is obviously a mood ruiner for the OXG fans because you were oh so tantalizingly close. You were up 5-1. And then the side swap, and well, have we got a story for you. So, overtime, as we said, SSG will be defending twice. Obviously, the favorable position to be in. They've changed up a little bit on this defense with the Clash now anchoring down on 90, and you might keep both Foltz and Rampy a little bit closer to the bomb site. That fight that we saw Foltz very keen to take into study will unlikely happen this time, depending on the way that OXG decides to push on out, and they are spread up all over this map. Take a look at that. I don't think anybody from OXG is working with one another at this present moment, and that's not exactly the situation you want to find yourself in. We've been very critical of OXG in the past because they get picked off one by one. No refrag potential, no trade potential. They just end up falling to their doom. They need to avoid that, obviously, because SSG have now mounted a significant comeback that can kill your confidence, and, well, you don't want to kill your chances as well.
So this Clash is actually pretty gigabrain. You've got a lot of things you can do with that. You can cut off, or see, remember the hole in the wall by the games bar? You can allow your Jaeger to rotate.
You didn't let me answer. I do remember the hole in the wall.
Oh, okay. You can allow your Jaeger to rotate even after 90 control is lost because of the clash. He can make that rotate more viable.
Oh,
more
that's a
importantly,
suppressor.
look at how difficult this is making taking 90 control for Slash. Yeah, I don't understand his loadout either.
That's got to be an accident. That's like a, oh, I'll pick Maverick. I'll pick Maverick. Oh my God, what weapon do I have?
I got the meme loadout from when I was playing ranked earlier.
Not
Hmm?
ideal.
Yeah, and look at that. As Oxygen attempts to rotate because of the clash, you're still able to play at top main, and that means that Laxing gets picked off. Now, there is an answer back, though, as Faults gets way too aggressive in the west hallway. That was completely unnecessary. It was a call probably made by the clash on the location, and Faults just wanted to capitalize. I understand it, but it might end up costing the round.
There was an exothermic charge that was intended for that study wall that is now gone, and well, you can see Thinking Nade still has one left in his pocket, but he gets a shot from Foxay, very narrowly missing. Biologic going for the plant, and we'll see if the Yokai can stop it. The toxic canister's doing great damage, and Bio won't be able to stick it out. What was he thinking? He's gone, and so is Foxay as SSG dominates the kill feed, and with 5 seconds left, Slash is not going to be able to do more. He finds his second kill, but SSG shuts them out. And now they're on match point. They've trailed all match long. But what a comeback it's been. We'll see how good they can be as they now go on to attack for round number 14.
Well done there to SSG, persevering, despite letting that pick get away. Most of it comes down to time and the bottlenecks and the limited options the attack has. Once again, that seems to be the story for this entire match. I think the overarching story for this map, though, has to be the mental fortitude of SSG. Something that I've discussed before in the past. Technically, a lot of esports have some sort of built-in momentum chain, like a currency system or something along those lines, that carries from round to round. Technically speaking, in Siege, the only thing that you really can do round to round is influence where you're allowed to pick in terms of sites on defense. Like, that's really it, right? You win a site, you're not going to go there the next round or the next one. And that's the extent of carryover round to round in this game. And so, if you're able to get to a point where you're professional enough to just play the rounds as they are and not worry so much about being down 6-1, not let that get to your head, focus on the map, or rather the round as an individual round by itself, I think that really says a lot about how much work you put in. And SSG certainly is displaying that here today, because I think pretty much everyone would have counted them out when they were down 5-1 or something along those lines, 6-2, I think, or, at one point or another. I think most people would have said, yeah, SSG's going to lose here. And they didn't let it get to them. They kept playing, and we're seeing just a defender-sided Villa right now. Sometimes that's how cards fall. Sometimes it just happens to be attacker-sided or defender-sided. In this case, it's clearly very defender-sided. And because SSG wasn't psyched out from the failure in the first half, they were allowed to do the same thing Oxygen did. Now the question is, will Oxygen be the one psyched out?
There's speculation abound, and I mean, we're going to be treated to Consulate after this with Coastline as the tiebreaker. It certainly did seem like this was going to be a quick one. Round number 8, as you pointed out. Yeah, it was 6-2 for OXG, and well, as we tend to see from maps that happen to have a certain rhythm to them, be they attacker or defender-sided, in this case, obviously, it's been very heavily defender-sided. There's only been 2 successful attacking rounds of the 13, now 14, as we are in the midst of it. That's, those are harrowing numbers for the attackers, and you're hard-pressed to be able to buy a win here. Space Station obviously have changed things up, and they must like what they see, but they have had some difficulties when trying to take Aviator and games, and OXG is doing their best impersonation of the Space Station defense. As you can see, it is an identical lineup to what was being brought out from SSG. 90 seconds left. There's been no contest.
There's been a little bit of pre-firing, but nothing else really to speak of. Ooh, the clash is being detected. The nade from below. This could be huge. And he lands it. Biologic goes down. A perfect counter to answer the strategy that Oxygen adapted. But at least Vertical is able to get Faults as Faults attempts to push up to 90. This time the Jaeger's aggression working out for the defender. In this case, Oxygen, but still, the story is there. Now, that was a beautiful counter for SSG. And I think definitely, if we're talking about impactful frags, the favor goes to Space Station. Even though it's Fultz, one of your top fraggers, you've still got Bosco in play, and you've gotten rid of that pesky clash.
It sounds like yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like the Maverick is going to work, but I couldn't see where Canadian was, as he's on his belly over by that classical hall. He'll get 90, technically, that wall leading into vault, and all it's going to do is just push off the defender that's playing inside of there. So that room is effectively unusable because, well, you've got somebody playing on repel. This is a tough spot to be in. If you're Foxay, there's another grenade from Rampy as he'll blow Foxay sky high. And now SSG has all the mojo in the world. Still two of those EE1Ds to go off. As Canadian looks primed and ready, he'll toss his frag grenades in, and the Lion will freeze everybody in place. Canadian going for the plant. There goes Slash, as Thinking Nade's DMR rips right through him. Vertical takes out Thinking Nade, but Canadian looks to be able to get away with it. OXG a counter punch, but it's Laxing now in a 1v2. Very quickly a 1v1. Diffuser surrendered. Oh, all on the shoulders of Rampy. Laxing will need to go for a defuse, but he's just one single bullet. Laxing hot on the heels of Rampy, but this is very much a game of cat and mouse at the moment. 30 seconds left. You're going to have to make a wild dash for it. Does Rampy know where he's going to be coming from? Laxing will now try to go from another angle as he'll head on over towards the diffuser with the wall in place, but Rampy's better. And Space Station, what an impressive comeback. They were down at 1.5 to 1, and they managed to win their map.
It'll be Consulate as our map number 2, and we'll begin the ban phase.
Now, there's some statistics that are somewhat relevant to this particular map. First and foremost, OXG and SSG have already played this map one time before. It came in that fabled Playday number 4 matchup in which OXG handed SSG their first best-of-3 loss all year long. Actually, I think their last best-of-3 loss came in like November of 2019. Quite an impressive run for Space Station, but Consulate was actually the map that OXG triumphed on in terms of the series. It was a 7-5 in favor of OXG, and it was Space Station's map pick at the time. Earlier today, Space Station played on Consulate against Dark Zero, and it was the only map that Space Station won against DZ. Once again, a 7-5 scoreline. So it's kind of up in the air as to which team is going to come out ahead here. Obviously, Space Station feeling very good after that Villa matchup. And, well, you see the operator bans there. They're a little bit different than what we saw on Villa, which is to be expected on a map that is a little bit more aggressive. Usually involves a bit more fragging power. Maybe not as, I don't know. Maybe not as technical a map as Villa. Nomad, Thatcher, Mute, and Wamai are your 4 operator bans.
I would agree with that assessment. This is a slightly less technical, though still very technical map. Vertical presence is just as relevant here as it was on the previous map. That's one interesting correlation between Villa and Consulate. It's the vertical play. In fact, on Consulate, maybe even more important, considering you can get some 3-floor angles from the top all the way to the bottom. It's quite interesting. We'll not delve into that, though, or delve into that, rather, as we've got the round starting up. Mira is going to be played. That's quite interesting. Now, this is probably her worst map, but there are some useful applications for her. If you've got the long angle from security and kitchen, that could be very useful. If you can hold in bathroom, that could be very useful. And Mira can facilitate those positions. So I'm sure we might see one at each location, as it looks like certainly one's going to go into bathroom based on Vertical's location as an individual right now. Now, again, there's that mental reset factor. That's what I'd be keeping an eye on. Oxygen needs a win. They need some kind of W. It could be, you know, a round or 2 chained together. It could be one of their players clutching really hard. You know, whatever it is, they need some kind of hype factor here because SSG just built themselves up. And now the tower that is Space Station is going to be very difficult for Oxygen to climb without something, you know, giving them that confidence.
Really? You're going to call them a tower? That's the metaphor?
Okay, I could have used... They launched into space. Now Oxygen has to figure out their own rocket science in order to rendezvous in orbit.
Already better.
Thank you.
Already better. I like it.
Thank you.
I like it a lot. Let's keep going.
Well, thanks for calling me on it. You know, sometimes it does need to be better.
I'm here for you, Michael.
Appreciate it.
Just you.
Okay. Whoa.
No other analysts. No Veli, no Jesse, no Jackie, none of them.
We're going rogue.
Just Michael.
We're breaking from the system. It's our show now.
I'm not a part of your system. Anyway. Speaking of, so Consulate is a map that I believe it's the official titles. We call them Freak Show maps. Freak Show maps. We used to call Oregon that. Then Border was that. Coastline has always been that. Now Consulate, I think, is the reigning defending Freak Show map. And it's because it's very linear. It's very claustrophobic. It's easy to pin people down. You can find yourself in a real tough spot here, as it does appear that Foxay has found himself in, and he's gonna need to swing his way out of the bathroom as he was under pressure from yellow stairs. He's got 2 ADSs on the doorway leading to that antechamber, so any other projectiles, throwables, etc. tossed on in there will get caught. Will they, on SSG's side, do anything to get rid of him? Answer is yes. Foltz finds him. Very first kill of this map is going to come from Space Station. They managed to clear out the bathroom, but not before Foxay had thrown out an Electroclaw. So that will at least stop that wall leading towards Zed or Zulu, depending on what you call it, from getting opened up.
This could be a really big C4 if vertical times it well. If he throws it far, for distance right now, he will kill that sledge. That's Bosco. Unless somebody else catches it. Might get the IQ. And does do some damage. No kill, though. Good job to Rampy getting out of that with his life. He'll keep his gun up. And he'll keep hunting those yokai drones. You can see Biologic moving his yokai around quite a lot, trying to keep it safe from the IQ. Vertical control established, but the pressure is not going to be that much considering how little time there is for SSG to execute. Got the garage open, though, thanks to destroying those Electroclaws after getting control of Piano. Nades go out to try and dislodge any anchors behind the white van, but there's nobody there. Plant going down. Yokai drone is in position to deny, but it gets caught by the IQ. Beautiful job. Canadian will get the plant down. No denial is close enough to stop him. On the exit there, Laxing will get one, though. So, not unwinnable for Oxygen. But if you've been watching Siege, you know a post plant on Garage or Consulate, very hard to retake for the defense. Possibly one of the hardest. Rampy's going to get slashed as he attempts to do just that. It's not going to work out so far for Oxygen. They will retake above, and Bio does get Bosco, but there's very little time. And that was a player by the main lobby, not one of the 3 that are set up in an array outside holding the post plant. As we come down to the last few seconds, it takes 7 to disarm that diffuser, and it's not going to be there. SSG will clean things up. 3 easy kills in the dying seconds of that round.
Honestly, the IQ play there was exquisite, if I may say that.
You may.
Especially catching that yokai off guard. Teams time and time again fall victim to the fact that you have a G8 in your hands. It is a very good killing machine at the moment, so you want to frag with it. And I know that all of Rampy's fans will surely say that he's somebody that enjoys fragging, and go off and do that, Rampy. But he stuck to the objective. He played it very well. He was able to hit the Electroclaw off and get the attention of the Mira inside a bathroom, and then obviously moves over to garage and makes sure that the diffuser goes down. And the only thing that really seemed to stop Canadian was that yokai drone, which was getting ready to go in place. Other than that, it was a very routine take for SSG. They started on that second floor. They made sure that everything was good and clear. They transitioned to the first floor. The only defender that was actively contesting that first floor was Foxay, who was playing inside of the bathroom. There was a lot of utility used, if you saw it. Number 1, there's 4 reinforcements that were used. There were 2 ADSs. He had an Electroclaw in position. He had a mirror window as well. The stack up from OXG inside of the bathroom was absolutely enormous, and was very, very important that it be held for as long as it was. Foxay died with about a minute left on the board, if I remember the clock correctly, which is fine. He was able to kill about 2 minutes of time, but you obviously want to try to ride it out to the very bitter end. But Space Station were very proficient on that clear. Once they were able to figure out that that second floor was entirely good to go, they were very quick to the punch on that first floor. And then you have Canadian standing, as most hard breachers do, outside of the garage, just waiting ever so patiently. Foxay dies, you take Piano, and then SSG holds that position.
Yeah, I didn't think that Piano control would be as influential as it ended up being. Mostly because there was so little time left to utilize it. But, you know, you talked about it just briefly there, you know, getting the anchors far enough back where the only thing that can deny that plant is the yokai drone. That was the play for SSG. They did it by the skin of their teeth, but they still did it. Now, in this round, top floor control, Oxygen trying to delay the roam clear upstairs, You see that's their priority. They've got 3 people up top. We've talked about this before. You need to hold above on this bomb site, because if you don't, it's very difficult to stop a plant in the B bomb site, because there are no soft walls all around the B bomb site. So that's what Oxygen's doing. Space Station will attempt to counter this by clearing from admin office. Laxton gets picked off by Z. Vaults in from Vaults. That's a curious pick. I'm surprised that Vaults got away with it. It is a vault in from the outside, but still, I didn't expect him to be allowed to do that so easily.
It's not obviously great for Oxygen here. Consulate does tend to be one of those few maps that it is very dependent on the operator bans. So you can kind of read it halfway through as to whether or not it's going to be pretty close. It does tend to be one of those maps where you can see a 3-3 quite easily, depending on whether teams go to Archives Tellers, whether they decide to play upstairs on Console Office. Obviously, this is a very aggressive hold for what is a lobby defense, but it's something that we've come to expect. And, well, you have to hold on to this upstairs as best as you can. And right now, Fox A is going to be the man of the hour. That's a frag grenade. That's a fire arrow. And, well, finally one connects. They clear out all of the gadgetry that was stopping it, and a grenade sails on in. Bosco takes out Fox A, and now they have control for Space Station of much of that second floor, but not quite all of it just yet. Vertical has wedged himself in between the pillars of Cabinet, and he's watching that connector play if somebody decides to rappel on in. But the stack up from Space Station is much deeper on that second floor. With that, Vertical will hit the deck, and he'll head towards Yellow Stairs, where Bio is playing as well. Slash is the lone man inside of the bomb site. With 25 seconds left, Space Station are up 5-3, but there's some explosive capability from Slash that's already been expended. You don't have to worry about a nitro cell. Evil Eye cams from Biologic might still be in play, and of course, you know that there's an Alda in his hands as well. That's quite the machinery to be able to gun you down. But where is Space Station? They're going to need to go quickly. 5 seconds left. Canadian will need to go for the plant. Thinking nade falls. There goes the Capitao. Vertical, 2 big kills. Canadian's down. And the diffuser surrendered with him means Oxygen takes the round. What poor timing from Space Station. And the elusive remaining 3 members of Oxygen are enough to hold off the hordes and equalize, with both teams now at 1.
The timing on the angles, perfect for Oxygen. That presence in Spiral was massive, as there was nobody for Space Station watching the angle that Vertical peaked to get those kills. The clear upstairs, though, I think is the real culprit. It took far too long for Space Station to get that top floor control, offering so much freedom to Oxygen. You could tell how comfortable they were waiting in their site for the round to end. And, well, it worked out great. The round did indeed end, and it went in favor of Oxygen because of the limited time available for Space Station, thus the limited control, because they don't have enough time to rotate their players to the correct positions to cover for that control and peaks like the one Vertical gave us. So, good job to Oxygen. It should have been a Space Station round, and it would have been, I'm sure, had they executed just, I'd say, 20 seconds sooner upstairs. But still, there's things to be impressed about Space Station's play in that last round. The nades are something that have continually been a massive factor for Space Station. They were in the last round of the first map, and they were just now in that round. It's Bosco who was landing at that time, but Rampy also lands his. You can tell that Space Station have a great amount of map awareness to land those nades exactly where they need to be every time.
Back downstairs they'll go for a garage defense, and I assume we won't see Console Office come out.
No.
Yeah, I would be very surprised. Change up from Oxygen, as they obviously didn't like the play to stay alive as long as possible from Foxay in that coffin that is a bathroom, essentially. Patch reinforced with a mirror window in there to play, so you'll at least be able to stay in there for any prolonged period of time. You don't really need to worry about losing that spot.
For those of you who are unaware why we're saying it's unlikely we'll see the top 4 get played, so far it's been a pretty abysmal bomb site. The worst bomb site on this map by far statistically in North America was the top floor hold. So it's fallen out of favor strongly with most teams, and yeah, we're seeing the middle floor be it's pretty much its hard substitute. Sometimes Tellers gets brought out, but either way the top floor is out of the equation.
It's no good.
No good.
And it's funny because I know that there was a great amount of suspicion regarding Teller's Archives and much a debate over how good it was to be able to defend. And teams now have figured out a way to optimally defend it as best as they can, but almost always involves 4 nitro cells and involves being deep in the heart of the basement. And if you don't land at least 2 of those 4 nitro cells, well, you find yourself in a really terrible position. You get punished very easily from the attackers. But let's wait. We'll save that conversation for if we end up seeing a Teller's Archives, because we'll inevitably need something to talk about.
Yeah.
Both the garage panel walls have been opened up, though, as it's about 90 seconds on in. Oxygen are not playing as aggressively on that first floor, at least not that we've seen at this point. They look to be holding pretty steady deep towards that bomb site, and I would suspect that Biologic's probably going to be playing over in server like he was last time with his yokai drones, and you want him to stay alive, and yep, there he is. He's very far back by the Visa stairs.
Slash gets the first pick of the round. Rampy will go down. That's the IQ. It's a huge pick. That means the yokai drones will be uncontested. Now, they might have been destroyed already. It's hard to tell because the 0 is him having deployed it or not, not necessarily whether they're in play. So I'm thinking they probably were destroyed considering how much time has transpired. So Rampy, no, one's still in play. No, both are still in play. You can see him on your screen. Rampy's job left undone means the plant is almost certainly not going down. That's huge. That pick becomes even more massive with the 2 yokais in play. C4 will miss from vertical, but luckily, again, this still 2 yokais, so the denial is there. It's not the end of the world for Auction that vertical got a little bit ahead of himself there. Nice angle play, but he's not landing the shots. Gas canister works against vertical, and he's shut down by Fultz, who gets a second kill in security. Now, the yokai drones are going to be the stars here. They're essential, and they might be able to clutch this, but they're not positioned correctly. And no, we're in a post play in the 2v2. Bosco versus Laxing now in the 1v1. Pipes versus Kitchen. Post plant means it's favored to Bosco. He's got the positional advantage, and there's the shot. Bosco wins those. SSG takes the round.
How did that go that way, especially with vertical? Oh my goodness, because I was primed and ready to jump in, seeing everything unfold. 3 members of Space Station all bunched up at the doorway to garage. Vertical has made his way towards the bottom of white stairs. He's sitting at that white banister, or that yellow banister, whatever color it is, gray, beige, eggshell, whatever color it is, at the bottom of the stairs, waiting for somebody to reach through. And what happens? As the members of Space Station just start to trickle through the garage, he misses all of his shots. He ends up in a plume of smoke and he gets gunned down. And with that, there's absolute chaos from Oxygen deep inside the bomb site. It's just bedlams. Canadian goes for the plant. Yokai drone shoots a little bit too early. Second one is not in position. Obviously, I would imagine, I don't want to say obviously, but I would imagine that the comms were an utter mess. And because of that, Space Station just takes full advantage of it. And Canadian gets away with it right as he's falling off the plant. There's a call made from the yokai. He goes down and ends up in a 1v1 with Bosco in the back of the bomb site as he came in late. And Space Station ends up winning an extremely unpredictable and wild ride of a round.
It was just that. I think Vertical, you talked about him briefly there. I'm going to re-up on that. Vertical definitely, he costed on that round. I don't want to skip around it. It's unfortunate. It does happen. I'm sure I would have done worse. But it did happen in a way that I think really was meaningful, because you're right, it unleashed the chaos. When Vertical loses control of pipes, basically what happens after that is that Oxygen's facing a direct confrontation with the attackers coming in through the garage. So why that's important is very simple. The reason it's so hard to push in through garage is because of just the abundance of angles the defense can play and the crossfires that can be easily accomplished from the defense when you're pushing in through the garage panel. One of the most important ones is, again, that position by pipes, and that's where Vertical died. There was no one to re-up on that position. There was just not enough time. The attack seized the opportunity, and yeah, they managed it in the end. Beautiful stuff from SSG, though, to clutch that out, because they shouldn't have won that round. That should have been Oxygen through and through.
Now, here we go towards Tellers and Archives. This was the bomb site that we were talking about the round before, if you recall, and I said, let's shelve this discussion. And very, very kind of OXG to say to themselves, hey, I think they were talking about this bomb site. Let's go there.
And here we are.
What this is going to entail, as I had talked about, is at least 4 nitro cells. And, well, would you look at that? On the right-hand side of your screen, 4 nitro cells, 2 impacts from Laxing. Vigil's probably going to bring impacts, because, you're
going to do that.
Yeah, you need them. And especially if he's going to roam. There's a rotate that usually goes into the wall right where the mirror is. I'm kind of surprised that's not present, but OXG don't seem to want to barricade themselves downstairs just yet. And all three members of OXG that we see on that stairwell are very actively playing off of that Pulse's cardiac sensor. And when it's not going to be in his hands, there will be a shotgun instead of the UMP. And we've seen teams play the shotgun on Pulse down below. It has some pretty decent self-destructive capabilities, and you can very easily shoot somebody as you know that they're going to go for that plant unless they're going to be on the desk, and then your shotgun's not going to be that effective.
Depends on how close they are. I mean, if they run up against you on the inside, then it could be, but unlikely, right?
Right. I would say unlikely.
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 The play so far has really just been delay work, and it's worked out great. Oxygen only have to hold out for 45 seconds. They've still got all their C4 to do that. They've still got their Pulse to give information. They've still got their Valkyrie to give information. They're not being pressured from the garage side right now. They've still got control even in the middle floor. You got the Valkyrie on a roam. Vertical even gets the first pick. Right now, it's seeming like SSG has no chance. We'll see, though, when they actually go for the collapse in the site, but it's certainly looking good for Oxygen.
Vertical looked like he was going to go for a peek onto the stairs, doesn't. Biologic somehow loses that gunfight to Rampy. 25 damage done to Rampy, but that's about it. And while he's spotted as the Vigil's playing off of this mirror window, Rampy has no idea, as all the shots are missed, actually. A second from Vertical before he's finished off by Fultz. Laxing ever so secretive. He takes out Rampy, but then down goes Foxay to Fultz. It's just a slugfest. Diffuser goes down as well onto the Ying from Canadian, and Laxing gets kill number 2. Diffuser is down. This is going to be tough for Fultz. I don't know if he has intel. Counter defuse, maybe moments away. Laxing is on 1 HP. There's Slash, and he'll hit him with an impact. Scare off the Kaid for now, but where is Laxing? That's going to be the question. Is he trying to sneak up or not? Slash gets pushed off, but for a second, and there's Laxing hot on his heels. Fultz is so exposed, and down he goes. Laxing with the 3rd kill, and an easy disable for Oxygen. These two teams, they will not shake each other. I said a 3-3 on console. It tends to happen quite often. Well, we're at a 2-2 right now. And I'm not talking about ballet. Oxygen with the equalizer after round number 4.
That was unfortunate there for SSG. They get the plant down against all odds, and yet they cannot hold that post plant. Very well played, though, for Oxygen. Got to give them credit for that. I am surprised that the initial disable attempt was not punished directly by, shooting. We could have seen that go into a one-on-one quite easily, but he's just trying to play it safe, I guess. The Zoe is just trying to be cautious. Fair enough. Lobby will be the next site for Oxygen. That again, that's the second round in recent. Yeah. That's the second round that could have gone the way of SSG. Shouldn't have gone the way of SSG and ended up going towards Oxygen, but they almost threw it. It's scary stuff when you have something like that, because, again, Oxygen was in such a controlling position, there was almost no chance that SSD should have been able to bring it back, and yet they almost did. It just makes me wonder what's going to happen when we switch on to the second half.
I suspect it's probably going to be as close as it had been right now. Honestly, of these 4 rounds so far, 3 of them have been a mess in the dying seconds, which just goes to show you that this 20-second meta that everybody loves to talk about. I'm talking seconds is in terms of time, not like we've gone through 21 metas and this is the 20-second meta that we've gone through.
Yeah.
Like 2 MD, 20 second.
Do people think that?
No, but if you're newer and they're like, 20 second, what do they count? When are we going to be on the 23rd meta? 20-second meta is described by the fact that usually it takes till the final 20 seconds, which is funny that we call it that, because ever since I've been casting, this game has been the 30-second meta, where 30 seconds hit, and usually that's when the action takes place.
10 seconds can be a lot. I don't know. I wasn't feeling very creative when...
Let me tell you, 10 seconds can be a ton.
It can be a ton. Yes.
I like how you didn't get it, but then you got it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm talking about time, nothing else. Anyway, by the way, thank you, Ubisoft Face It. Anyway, It just goes to show you that we are still very much in the full swing of things when it comes to this 20-second meta. And obviously, there have been some stumbles so far today from SSG on the way that they've adapted. Now, if you look back at Villa, it looks like the SSG that struggled to adapt to DZ is still present, but it is not as pronounced as it was, as they definitely were able to make adaptations on that Villa matchup. On Consulate, they've done that too, but I have to commend OXG for the way that they've been able to bounce back on a couple of these rounds and engage in the all-out brawl that we've seen so far. And I don't have any illusions here. I expect this Consulate match to go to overtime, just as we saw with Villa.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it might go that way. Oxygen definitely haven't broken yet, and you love to see that. I almost thought honestly, Parker, after their lackluster performance in their first series of the day, and then their absolute toss of the first map of this series, I honestly thought Oxygen would have checked out at this point, but they haven't. I gotta commend them for that. We're talking about how important mental fortitude is, and Oxygen is displaying theirs here, and it's impressive stuff. Now, this round's come down to the last 50 seconds, and the attack has cleared out above the bomb site, which allows them a lot of control. They've also gotten a pick upstairs on a Foxay. I'm not sure where that was. Maybe he was trying to retake yellow. Wherever it is, that's a big pick, as that's your smoke gone, and a lot of plant denial eliminated.
Foxay is having a rough game this time, but he hasn't exactly been the worst player so far for OXG, and he's always a standout performer who needs to be there for his team. He's not going to be calling from the benches.
What?
Don't know what you're thinking. Vertical didn't even take a scratch from that. Fultz, come on, man. Can't be doing that. Anyway, 10 seconds left. SSG's gonna have to barrel on in another kill from them. They hold a sizable advantage, but the last time this happened, the clock struck 0. And there's the nitro cell. So somebody's gonna have to start to plant, but Slash will need to run a marathon in order to get there, and nobody knows where he's going to be coming from. He's above, and we'll have to patrol that open doorway. He's a Mira, so he's a 3 armor and a 1 speed. He's going nowhere in a hurry. Gets back inside. Michael, I'll give you a house if Slash wins this round. How about that?
Sure. I'll take it. I mean, he's almost no chance. Do I have to wager something against him?
Yes, you have to give me your house.
I don't own a house.
Typical millennial. Walking around like you rent the place. There goes the round. There was no chance. No chance at all for Slash to win that. 0. The moment that he vaulted out those windows, it was over. Totally over. And a great shot from Rampy, actually. But SSG will take 3 of those first rounds, and this is the chance for OXG to equalize. And I suspect that'll happen as neither team have been able to win more than 1 round in a row.
Yeah, that was pretty rough there. For those of you wondering, that C4, beautiful one. It was one that was figured out a long time ago. It rears its head every once in a while. There are 2 different drop downs in the main lobby. One by the circle desk, one in the closet. From both of those drop downs, technically, you can land a C4 by the front door. The easier one is by the closet drop down. That's where Slash was. He got the C4 from the bottom floor. I would make an argument that if Slash were any other operator and the appropriate holes had been made above where the plant was going down, he might have been able to make it. Because he was a 3 armor, he couldn't get to the top floor in time to deny the second plant attempt. Despite the time being so low, there was just no chance. Physically, it was not possible for Slash to get there in time. So it's not his fault. Nice try. You could tell he delayed his C4 as long as possible, but it just didn't work out in the end. So well done to SSG, by the way, clawing that one in. I'm impressed by their tenacity once again.
Our prediction was correct, by the way. There's no no console office defense.
Yeah, for this event, and it actually
ever again. It's canceled apparently.
Oh, you mean now? Okay.
Well, no, it's just that. So I mean, your rotation now, if you're looking at OXG, has been garage, lobby, garage, tellers, lobby.
Right.
Read the tea leaves, Michael. What do you think this is? Do you think this is just an even matchup? Do you think the attackers have an advantage? Do you think the defenders have an advantage?
Well, clearly by the scoreline, we could state that there's no distinct advantage for either the attack or the defense. But I would say that it's just been a mess. I think that's the best way I can put this. If you want me to analyze the overarching theme of the map, it's messy. Both teams are making a plethora of mistakes and capitalizing on their opponent's mistakes. It's kind of interesting to watch. I don't think either of these squads are playing to their fullest potential. But then we've seen moments of brilliance as well, like SSG salvaging that basement attack after they picked off vertical. You know, those things that just shouldn't happen. So it's a bit of a hit and a miss, and it's really weird to watch, but I am not complaining. It's very entertaining.
He missed the drone on the vending machine. It sure looks like he did.
He did, yeah.
They do not like this deployable shield upstairs. Biologic has reset this deployable shield 3 times now. That was the 3rd time that he set it in a new position, and it's been done to try and read the execute from SSG, which now seems to be coming from the western side of the building, which is going to be the console office, which is exactly where you see it. And there's a frag grenade to thread the needle and go out and ideally take out the deployable shield. Whether it got it or not, we'll find out in just a second, because it also took out the drone. And yeah, looks like it got the shield as it lays splayed out on the floor. Additionally, OXG has fallen quite a ways back, and it looks like they've conceded most, if not all, of the second floor, barring Biologic's position upstairs inside of that little kitchenette area, watching the doorway. And the smoke is going to be crucial, because he can shoot through most of that wall if he's still got some ammo left in his shotgun, because only one of the panels looked like it was reinforced. He's got the SMG out for now, though, and he'll confront anybody that comes from the console office side of things. There's a drone taken out, and he's going to just stand here in hallway and waste time. There's no reason for you to be too aggressive if you're OXG. Wait and let Space Station fumble when it comes to the clock, as they've done a couple times so far today.
Nice pick there for Bosco on the top floor. A little bit of an exchange there, though, as it goes both ways. Oxygen still on the back end until Bio shows up, I think by Visa. There's going to be one more for Oxygen. Vertical holding out on pipes, and he's doing much better with that ACOG. Right gun, I think, for that spot. Now SSG has some amount of control, but not the top floor, as they're going to lose another one to Bio, retaking upstairs. Canadian going for a plant, though. He might actually be able to get it. He will, but it's not going to matter. The triple kill for Biologic, and Oxygen will end the half 3-3.
Good opening from SSG, but ultimately they stalled out, and their difficulties being able to determine the location of the defenders has been well documented today. And while it's not gotten any better, as predicted, this is a 3-3 split between these two teams. So we'll see what happens now as they swap sides. Is there going to be a trend line here established that holds, or was it just that maybe one side or the other had the upper hand? Frankly, I can't really tell. Lobby was defended 3 times. OXG successfully defended it twice. They lost it once. Garage was played twice. Both times the attacking team, which is SSG, won it. Tellers defended once. OXG won that one. Honestly, it's very site specific, and it really depends on what the teams do for their rotation. Right now, Garage seems to be an attacking extravaganza. Well, SSG is going to gamble on that one, and ideally they're going to change that because they're going to be starting off on Garage.
So we go down to that Garage, as you said. They've got all the right tools for this. And don't forget, though, for a limited time, you can support Rainbow Six Esports Pro teams with 30% of the net revenue split equally among the Phase 3 teams. And they look pretty awesome as well. You can get those in the store right now. Again, that's 30% net of the revenue for those skins split between the Phase 3 teams. That's a pretty awesome way to support them directly. And, again, like I said, those skins just look pretty cool. I don't know about you, Parker, but I collect all of them.
I have every single pilot program skin.
There you go.
5 seconds remaining.
Everyone.
Yeah, me too, I think.
Going all the way back to the very first series that came out ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
I even have the Mouse Sports one.
Yeah?
Yeah, the Mouse Sports Vigil one. That one's rare.
It's on the K1A, right?
Yes, and Vigil himself.
Yeah,
and now Liquid has the K1A, right? So.
Yeah.
And G2, I think G2 is the K1A as well.
Yeah, I have the Rudolph skin. Haha.
Everybody knows that the best skin in the game is the Tiger skin.
Oh yeah, the Tiger skin one.
The Bengal skin from the Safari bundle.
I actually used to run that as my mainstay because back in early Siege, when that one was out, there weren't really many good skins, to be honest.
Still the GOAT.
Hmm?
I said it's still the GOAT skin.
Yeah, it's up there. Honestly, I like it a lot.
Anyway, Garage defense, and would you take a look at SSG? It's 4 operators that are played very typically as anchors, and then, well, a Jaeger on the board. So Rampy will likely roam. Fultz with 12 kills. That is an impressive effort so far. Fox A is the only person so far on his team that's looking for a kill. Canadian on his. So you've still got 2 players that are looking for more. Thinking Nade's also had a bit of a rough outing so far in this matchup. But the thing with Thinking Nade is that his job, his role is he's only really getting kills if there's effective flanking going off. That's his role on attack. He's that flank watch operator, and well, there wasn't much flank to watch so far. Canadian gets the lead off pick, though. He finds his way onto the score sheet, which means that it's just Fox A left, and he'll need to do that as it's slashed down. And round number 7, the very first defense for SSG, starts off with a bang.
And there's another hole above the bathroom drop to accomplish more angles. You can deny someone playing back white, and you could see Canadian almost died. He would have, were he a faster operator. That's thanks to, again, that bathroom wall getting opened up. Fultz does get vertical, though, so Oxygen continuing to incur casualties as the attempt to assault this bomb site. Oh. They have done a lot of damage, though. Canadian and Fultz will both die to a single bullet. Again, that 3 armor value is so important for them to persist. They'd both be dead right now, were they any other operator in all likelihood. Not any other operator. Any other operator speed, pardon. Now,
Canadian definitely, yes.
Yeah, Canadian certainly, maybe not Fultz. But either way, the time is now becoming a massive factor. As we hit the last 30 seconds here, the attack hasn't managed to get any picks from their vertical, and there's plenty of denial left for the defense.
The tricky part's going to be Bio trying to get that diffuser down. A thankless job, as he's going to have to walk right into the opening that was created on that garage door. Toxic canister from Bosco will go out. It'll hit yellow stairs. Looking for another to go over. Maybe towards B. Down goes Fox A. He won't find a kill. There's one for Laxing, as you now see the Alda just tear on through, and then Rampy finishes things off. SSG, well, they'll win round number 4, and would you believe it? No team has yet to win 2 rounds in a row. So still back and forth we go, but SSG starts off their defense where you want to be.
It's a close match. It's been very close. The results, I think, speak for themselves. That was a well-played round there for SSG in the way that they persevered. They played their lives down in the site. The reason they were allowed to play so far back, and the reason why the vertical control did not matter that much, is mostly due to the fact that they got the early picks previously, and they had plenty of denial for an attempted plant by the garage. The mirror windows, plus the gas canisters, probably the evil eyes were still up too. There was no way the attack could push in through the garage, especially with those evil eyes. If you didn't know, there are 2 evil eyes. Well, sorry, 2. There's an abundance of evil eye spots, so you can place them in the garage on the floor and shoot the feet of all the attackers as they come in through the garage panel, or even if they sit outside the garage panel. And that does just as much damage as it does anywhere else, since it's, you know, an evil eye. So that's pretty significant. And it generally dissuades people from executing through the garage unless they have a strong man advantage. In that case, Oxygen didn't. They had to go for something different. The rush through the back did not work well, and SSG cleaned it up. It was a good round for Space Station.
Impressive stuff from them, but I mean, the pendulum now swings the other way, so you have to...
Of course, this is Oxygen's turn.
Oxygen has to win. If SSG could actually just lay down, so we could just get it over with, that'd be extraordinary. This is going to be a tougher site for them to attack, though, but I mean, Teller's Archives is not the site that it used to be. It's been mostly fleshed out by teams. They're very comfortable going on it. I have to say this, especially since Canadian is in the match, because one time when I was a brand new caster, I think I've told you this story, I said that lobby, this was back when console only had 3 bomb sites. This was back before Teller's Archives existed. I said that lobby was an unorthodox site for teams to defend, because that was back when it was the 2-site rotation, and teams really didn't play it. And Troy was like, it's not unorthodox. Teams know how to play it. They can go to it. And I'm like, that's not what I'm trying to say. But anyway, now I need to say everything with just like a little bit of a note. And the note here is that teams know how to play Teller's Archives.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Troy and Parker have massive beef. They don't talk with each other.
Why do you do this?
I've tried to work it out, but
why do you do this? People will believe you. There will be people being like, wow, really? Because they don't know any better, Michael.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. They do a podcast together.
Which you were just on.
Yes, it was the Kicks on 6.
That's true.
Now,
thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Now the control focus for the attack, as you can see, is on the top floor. Since this is Teller's, they're also trying to get control of the bottom floor, and they're going to do a great job of that as Foxay picks off Thinking Nate, who is attempting to hold on to Garage. That extension not working out well for SSG in this round and benefiting Oxygen quite a bit.
It's a really rough place to be in for Thinking Nate. He's had a bad day for stats. We talked about this last round, and it's only going to continue to get much worse. And now Slash will try to hunt down Canadian back on that very familiar and comfortable roll. A little bit of damage done to the Pulse, but that pistol is basically a pea shooter past that 15-meter range, give or take. So SSG will just hold on right now, try to weather that storm. With Thinking Nate going down, that was a C4 that was also very likely removed, which means that you've only got 3 left. Ooh, that's dire straits to find yourself in. Down goes Bosco, and well, the smoke is a very critical operator, and he's not going to be available. Rampy's Commando finds Vertical, but still the advantage holds for Oxygen. With 45 seconds left, they just need to bleed dry the utility from SSG as they attempt to go for the plant. There's going to be a sacrificial lamb in the hands of Biologic, and now the Pulse is under fire from above. Bio looks like he'll be able to get it off as there's no Nitro Cell, no intel, and just like that, Oxygen have the objective completed. The Nitro Cell will go off, but it'll miss its target. Laxing finds Rampy, meaning that Oxygen now just needs a couple more kills, and they found 1 of 2. Returning fire is Fultz, but he's got a very massive task ahead of him, and it looks like we are going to barrel our way towards yet another tie. Unless Fultz is able to perform a miracle here, but the question is going to be, Michael, do you believe in miracles? Because well, frankly, I don't. Down goes Laxing, though, only 2. Nitro Cell tossed out in desperation, does not connect, 12 seconds left. Spotted on a drone, and the diffuser now at the point of no return. Nothing that Fultz can do. Just pat your stats. Why not? Foxay had found his very first kill of the match earlier, and it was a good luck charm. Oxygen, as per the prophecy, Michael, they win another round. Back and forth, 4-4.
Another one. Well done. Now, most of that, in my mind, comes down to the fact that the IQ is distracting the Pulse. Not just distracting, but getting the Pulse off of his heartbeat sensor. You saw there for a little bit, Pulse looked like he was trying to get that heartbeat sensor up to call out the plant, but he couldn't because the IQ was shooting him. So props to Slash for making that work for his team. I was a little bit worried there when he was, taking shots at the Pulse through the floor. I thought he was going to scare the Pulse off, maybe. I was a little bit worried when he stepped over the threshold of the door because maybe he's going to get killed by a pre-placed. But none of that happened. Slash got away with poking away at the Pulse, and he allowed for the plant to go down thanks to the assertiveness of Biologic. Good call there for Oxygen to realize they had an opportunity and to seize upon it. In the post plant, SSG did a valiant, or had a valiant effort to try and retake, but they just couldn't make it happen. And that's expected. If the plant goes down on that site, generally speaking, the attack will win it. Not always, but generally. Now, we'll go to the middle floor for our next site, and still, the top floor has not been defended, and I don't expect it to be.
One thing that I really liked about that take was how Oxygen were able to pull it off without having everybody assembled in the same spot upstairs. We see so many teams get stuck in the mud on that first floor by Visa that they don't have any operator that can go down below and just sow chaos. But Oxygen, as we have pointed out time and time again, it was very evident on a couple rounds on Villa, we made mention of it, is that they like to spread their troops out. They don't always like to go in arm in arm. It can cause some significant headaches and some problems with refrags and proper coordination. But when it works very well. And that's exactly what OXG did. They had somebody head in through main garage. They had somebody patrolling the stairwells. It essentially pinned down SSG. And a lot of that was because of the early pick that Foxay got. By getting rid of Thinking Nade, you got a ton of control over Garage, and you also knew that you could send somebody off to play on a surprising flank-style role on that bottom floor to distract, as we saw happen. And what this did was it kept SSG busy. In particular, the pulse of Canadian was completely ineffective for the final 90 seconds of that round because he was being hunted down by Slash and because he had to be very wary of the calls being made from Slash, not just Slash shooting at him, but the calls being made to whomever from OXG was tasked with tracking him down. So really well played by Oxygen. And honestly, a lot of that stems from that early pick.
Track stingers going down, and top floor controlled by admin at least acquired. They need to get meeting control though. That's the priority, as you can see, for the attack. They're vying for meeting right now. It's gonna take them a while to get it though. And you've got Thinking Nade in Bosco's spot, even though he is not Bosco. And he's going to be trying to just deny that push in. Free play C4, called well. Rampy will get one. Canadian gets the other as he runs out from yellow. He won't get a third, though. Slash gets the refrag. Good assertiveness there from Slash to bring it back into winnable. But SSG has established their dominance. They have gotten Diffuser down. Time is wasting away. They even still maintain control of top floor, which is unlikely to be taken back by Oxygen at this point. So things are looking good for Space Station.
Lobby take as well without your hard breach, as Biologic was the only one that could cut through those metal reinforcements of Space Station. So you don't necessarily need to worry too much about playing upstairs, but that looked like Vertical was going to take matters into his own hands. He had two different members of SSG that were watching it. Bosco, credited with the kill, is now thinking Nate is under pressure from the top of Visa's stairs, and Bosco is ready to greet anybody who tries to head on over towards Long Desk. Laxing will need to make a very impressive shot. The Slash goes down, and it looks like a very near flawless round. As Canadian had died earlier, that's about it, as all the rest of Oxygen falters. It's becoming a joke at this point. No team can win a round after winning a round. It just doesn't work. And this back and forth yo-yo of a match now gives SSG a 5-4 lead.
Well, if the back and forth yo-yo continues, Oxygen will equalize, then Space Station will put match point, then we'll get overtime. Then Space Station, I guess, will take it in the end, because if the yo-yo remains unbroken, Space Station will win, because they're the ones putting it into not match point. They're the ones asserting the lead. Oxygen doesn't get the lead. They get equality, like they bring it to 4-4 or 3-3 or what have you. So with SSG being one step ahead, again, if the yo-yo keeps getting used, then this is the 2-0 for SSG. But the yo-yo prophecy is unlikely to be fulfilled. It was only told about in stories around campfires. No one actually believed it.
A tale as old as time. Passed down from generations.
Yeah. From my grandpappy to his kids to me.
You know, his kids are your parents.
That's true.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Well, not his kids. His kid. And then some other grandpappy.
5 seconds to go.
Now you lost me.
Well, because if it were his kids, that would be... If his kids... If one of my grandparents' kids were my parents, that would be called...
Say the word.
I don't want... I don't want it on broadcast. It just seems weird. I don't know why. But you know what I'm inferring here. So no, not his kids. One grandpappy's kid, and then another grandpappy's kid.
Yeah, my family tree's a circle. Just loops right back up. And just goes straight across.
Yeah.
All right,
Anyway.
this is a big round for SSG. If they can break this streak, they find themselves on match point. It could end up being a 2-0, which would be a surprising scoreline, honestly, for this matchup. I would have suspected that it would have been a lot closer. And you go back in time to round number 8 of Villa, and you say that SSG is up 5-4 on map number 2, and well, they're already up one map. You'd say, no. That's true. That's what you'd say. So, SSG back on Garage. They have won Garage every time they've played it. Doesn't matter if they're on attack or defense. And they are primed and ready to greet OXG if they assemble the attackers over by Yellow Stairs. But this is an interesting cutoff by Laxing, as he'll make sure that there's no rotations that are going to happen from the top of Spiral Stairs. This means that it might be trickier for Canadian to go back if the hatch isn't popped.
Oop. Well. Oh, that's a big C4 right there. What was that from? Yellow? Wherever it was, it wasn't Canadian, because he's... No, it was from pipes. It was through the hole in the floor from all the way down by either black car or pipe. No, yeah, it must have been black car. That got the exothermic as it was being placed on the wall. Now, they wanted more than the exothermic. They wanted to kill the thermite, too, but they were a little bit too slow to throw the C4. That was likely from... Let's see. It was from Thinking Nate. Beautiful C4 there from SSG, and almost gave them a man advantage. Almost won them the round. The second one goes out, and this one doesn't connect onto anything. So, they retreat from bathroom. Time wasted, but 2 C4s used up as well.
So SSG in a commanding position in terms of utility. The time is going to be the bigger issue for OXG right now. But you know that on their side of things, they are a squad that is perfectly capable of hitting their shots. But chaos tends to ensue when you go for the late plant on garage. It sounds like we've had a Mira drop. His Thinking Nate has now fallen all the way back. He's going to watch that opening inside a lobby, and Thinking Nate likes to watch the unconventional spots for those possible flanks. It sounds like a second exothermic charge, maybe, unless Bio's already used it off. Sounds are very deceptive. Grenade goes in to push Fultz off of a spot that he knows quite well. Bio, though, going for a plant, and the smoke canister will miss. He'll be able to get this one away as Oxygen look to be able to lock out the retake from SSG. But no! Where's Rampy on yellow? He's on a rampage. Slash and Laxing now will dominate, as you're going to find Bosco, the clutch master himself, clutch minister, whatever you want to call him, in a post plant. He takes out the head of Laxing, and he's got 1 HP of Slash to find. That's about it. The Hibana's watching the hatch from above. Bosco low himself. This will have to be one of the best clutches that Bosco's pulled off, especially with how crucial this match is right now. Bosco sticking the plant, trying to draw out Slash. From above, Bosco falls off, but he's running out of time. He's going to have to stick it now. He coaxes out Slash, but Slash is better. The man's so nice. They named him twice. Spencer Oliver gets the very final kill, and, well, back and forth we go again. Another round goes to the opposing side, and it's 5-5 through 10 rounds.
The prophecy must be fulfilled, screams Slashug as he picks up the final kill in that round. All right, so yeah, the back and forth, as you mentioned, we are still on this train. Wonder where it gets off. Now, it'll be bottom floor defense once again for SSG. They want to return here. They felt confident. They felt comfortable, and I understand that. That actually, for a time, was a 2v4 favor SSG. And then, well, Oxygen bounced that one right back, and Slashug clutched it up in the 1v1. So massive props to Slash. That's impactful plays there. That's match-winning plays. And we are now but one away from match point, regardless of which team wins this. Oh.
You want to make a prediction?
Wait, you want to make a prediction?
I asked you first.
Oh, you want me to make a prediction?
I asked you if you wanted to make a prediction.
Oh, do I want to make a prediction?
Yes or no? 'Cause I am bound by law, by God and law.
Are you?
I have to pick the opposite of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you say, oh, I think SSG is going to win, I have to say, oh, I think it's going to be Oxygen.
Well, what if I don't say which I think is going to win, because I really don't know at this point?
What if the real winner is the friends we make along the way?
That's certainly true. I'd say that every journey really is the most important part of the destination. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. Journey's important. I think it's where you learn the most.
I agree. Also, I think SSG is going to win this round. So now you have to say Oxygen.
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to say either. We've seen like the back and forth now. Well, I mean, okay, the prophecy will be fulfilled if you're right.
Well,
So.
I mean, last round, one of the trend lines broke, and it was pulled off well from Oxygen as they used the smoke to cleave off access, visual access for Space Station to the plant that happened in the corner from Bio.
Yep.
We refer to a number of spots on these maps as default plant spots. And that's not really a default spot, obviously. Default is, I would say default is in front of the white van, but...
I would say that too.
But in this case, we see quite a few plants go down there. And I mean, I'm kind of surprised that there was no intel from SSG at all.
Yeah.
But that was last round. You've got a lot of hard destruction that has been done quite well. Slash and Bio putting their two gadgets to very good use. Garage door opened up, and you've also picked off the defender that was playing upstairs in the bathroom. So you've got that first floor control as much as you can hope for, with Fox-A now being that one-man wrecking crew, destroying the floor as sledges do. Still over a minute, almost a minute and a half left to play.
Yeah. It looks like Oxygen have the control that they want. They've got plenty of time to open up this floor. Now, the garage is also open, but there's nobody playing outside it right now. Ooh, this is big. If those X-Caros actually go off, Mirror window is gone, but it looks like it might have just been saved by thinking nade. No, one detonates and the window's open. Oh no, he didn't get all of the X-Kyos, and that's going to actually significantly hamper the defense. Bosco just lost a really important tool. Foxy is going to be able to open up even more upstairs and cut off a lot of those rotates as we come down to this last 30 seconds 5v5.
Bosco's going to have to fight back, obviously, from the spot that he's in. A toxic canister goes down. Opening pick is on Laxing. Looking very good for Oxygen now as they'll add to it. Bio planting in the default spot. Now he's going to start to take damage, but he'll be able to pull this one off. Does he get out of there alive? Yes, he does by the skin of his teeth. Things are going to get real crazy for SSG real quickly as they find themselves trailing. And for the very first time, we might see a team win more than one round in a row. Almost a flawless one for OXG as they've only got 2 more to find. With that diffuser down, clock is going to continue to tick away at the chances for SSG to be able to pull this one together. Bosco down means Rampy in a 1v5, and he is at the back of the bomb site. He is miles away from being able to pull this one off. The only question is, will it be flawless? Yes, it will! Oxygen off the back of a great play from Slash and Co. Means that it's match point for OXG, the first team to win more than one round in a row. And it's done flawlessly.
The prophecy has been violated, Parker. And I guess that means that I am right, even though I didn't say it, as you said I must be.
I said SSG, you were forced to say OXG, so.
Yeah. Technically correct, even though I didn't actually say it. It just happened to be that. Woohoo. Whoop-de-doo, let's go. Now, that execution from Oxygen was very simple, yet effective. Getting the initial pick and also managing not to get any not to incur any casualties as they got those picks, that was huge. Now the fact that the gas canisters from the smoke were just a little off as well, yet another layer contributing to Oxygen's success there. Now we're on match point. SSG has tried the bottom floor twice in a row and failed it twice in a row. So they're going to try something a little bit different. They're going to tellers. And I think that this is the right call. I'm not sure that it'll be met with success, but it is certainly the right call for SSG to try a new site here.
Huge round for Space Station as they invest in another garage defense, though it's not actually going to be in the garage, though they are going to be defending that portion of the map. It's over to Tellers and Archives, and so far they could have gone to lobby. I mean, that worked for them last time around, but I don't think they liked it very much at all. Oxygen sat on match point on Villa and they choked it, though I would say that was more a byproduct of Villa just being horrendously defender-sided more than OXG fully choking it. This time around, Consulate is extremely well balanced. OXG can break that by winning this round, as they've already gotten half of their attacking victories. And OXG's honestly looked a lot better on Consulate than I wanted to say on Villa. It's hard because Villa does kind of mask your deficiencies if you're good on defense. If you're good enough on defense, especially with the fact that the way we saw that Villa just play out, OXG could have been pretty good or even average, and it's hard to tell how good they actually were. But on Consulate, OXG, much better.
Yeah, I think they're a more dynamic team here. They're certainly looking a little bit more comfortable. You know, that's, of course, discounting their really impressive run-up on the first half. But I think, again, that had a lot to do with the defender-sided nature of the map. Here, both teams are winning and losing. Attack, defense is back and forth. It's all over the place. So, yeah, I'm impressed by both squads, to be honest. And Oxygen look to be the ones pushing past and breaking away. Now, they've got the IQ once again on this Teller's attack, but it's in someone else's hands. It was Slash last time. It's Biologic this time. I don't think that Oxygen is going to get a free pick on the garage side like they did last time. I would imagine it'll be handled better by SSG this go-around.
I would imagine so, and the one thing that we gave credit to Oxygen for on the last time they attacked Teller's Archives was that isolation that they were able to play off of, especially once they got that pick on the Thinking Nade. Now, you have to be very wary of your Thinking Nade of finding yourself in a precarious position as he did before. He was defending the double doorway, leading down towards the main garage. He got picked off from above by Foxy and Sledge. So if you don't forfeit an early pick, then you've got those C4s in hand. And somebody from Oxygen is going to have to go on a bit of a fishing expedition down below to see if they can catch something. Right now, that's not a given. And 45 seconds are left to see what Oxygen are going to be able to pull off. Nitro cells armed and ready. 4 of them on deck for Space Station. Hopefully, for SSG, you find 1, 2, maybe 3. OXG, you hope that's not the case. And Canadian will be guiding them as there goes the plant from Biologic. He gets spotted. There goes a Nitro cell and it connects. Slash gets the first pick on the Canadian, but not before the intel's been relayed. Diffuser in the hands of Fox A. There goes another Nitro cell as Slash will run on by swinging. Nobody seems to know that Fox A is there, and they can't stop this plant in time. Oxygen gets it down with Vertical, picking off Fultz. Everything is coming up on Oxygen's side of things. They are dominating right now in terms of this objective play. Rampy guns down Slash, some misses from Vertical. He looks to be getting swung on from 2 separate members, and there's Laxing as well to get in on the fun. It's Rampy with literally 1 HP against 3 members of OXG, and it seems, Michael, like it's an almost certainty that we're going to have a 3rd map. OXG's gonna not let them get away with it that easily. Rampy walking down spiral stairs, spiraling just as it appears SSG may be, and that's the ball game, including the kill. OXG takes map number 2, setting us up for a 1-map showdown on Coastline.
We're going to start the ban phase. We're going to get into Coastline and get this map underway.
Any predictions for operator bans? So far, these teams have really liked getting rid of Nomad, and OXG has started on defense for maps 1, 2, and now map 3 as well. So I imagine a Nomad ban will probably come out here. It is directly targeting none other than Thinking Nade and his flank watch capabilities. He can flank watch his Thatcher if he really wants to. It took them a little while longer, but they still arrived at the exact same conclusion, which is get rid of Nomad. SSG has been a lot more flexible in terms of what they ban on attack, but Hibana is usually the go-to ban here. They're going to throw a little bit of a curve ball and get rid of Capitao instead. Capitao, an operator that is well liked by various members of Oxygen, so it stands to reason to get rid of him and, well, follow up with the Wamai ban. So that makes sense. You get rid of Capitao, the only thing that can counter those arrows is a Wamai. You get rid of Wamai as well. Well, there you have it.
Probably be a Valkyrie. It would be my guess. I mean, both these teams play. Oh no, it's not. Okay. Well, guess not. I'm guessing wrong. Last time Oxygen did go here, they banned Pulse. It's the only time they've banned Pulse. But both of these teams actually banned Valkyrie as their primary operator. Now, why this is interesting is because with a Pulse ban, you're going to have more information outside the map and still plenty inside the map. With Valkyries being in play. This is going to make operators like IQ essential. Actually, IQ will probably be run every single round with a Valkyrie-enabled coastline. I'm actually kind of, like, again, it's very unusual to see Valkyrie make it through that ban phase on this map. So that'll be potent. You talked about Hibana. She's going to be a really strong tool for both teams when they're on the attacking side as well. A strange ban phase, to be sure. The Capitao plays a similar role to Hibana, though, in a sense. So that one at least kind of makes a little bit of sense. And same thing with Pulse to Valkyrie. But I still think Valkyrie would have been a smarter ban here. Though I understand it, though. SSG is good at playing Pulse on this map, so it makes sense.
Valkyrie would be a good ban. Both teams have been running Valkyrie, though. I don't know if Valkyrie would have been banned for that reason and that reason alone. SSG ran her a slew of times on Villa. Right now, immediately, Fox A is running her. You know, so you saw her on... You see her on...
A lot.
See her on Consulate? I was trying to remember if we saw her on Consulate. It's weird because like Consulate's already gone from my brain. Villa? Remember clear as day. I can tell you all that happened. Consulate? Can't remember.
If she wasn't banned, then she was definitely played, yes.
She was not banned. It was Wamai and Mute that were banned.
Yeah, well, then she's one of the most meta operators out there right now, and I imagine she probably would have been played a few rounds at least.
I had no idea.
Bomb located by attackers.
All right. So Foxy's going for a run out by Mud, and he's looks like not going to spot anyone immediately. I will see one on a long angle, but he doesn't land the shot.
They like that. They did it on Villa. They didn't really go for it on Consulate. OXG's cheeky style of plays.
Yeah. Whoa.
That is brazen.
Yeah.
That is very brazen from vertical. Great mechanical aim and really good skill. So he can obviously try and win those fights, no doubt, but you don't want to put yourself at that big a disadvantage if you lose.
Oh, that was a curious mark. So what that mark was probably entailing is a C4 from below pre-placed to assist the roam upstairs. I don't see that Fox's used his, though. So maybe he's just relocating to do just that right now. He's remarking over and over, so that would make sense. False gets bio, so Maestro gone. That's huge. Evil Eyes will stay silent for the rest of the round, and oh no, it's getting worse as the roamer above is eliminated by Thinking Nade.
There's more damage being done now from the Buck, as this is a bit of a slow start, and they're using these EE1Ds to just try and take up as much ground as possible, keep OXG at bay. This is the standard stuff with Lion. Obviously, he's not quite the operator he used to be, much to the relief of basically everybody who plays this game. So now he's exceptional at being able to just take space quickly, and, well, with how good a team like SSG drones, it can end up being extremely, extremely strong. OXG will find some firepower of their own at Slash. He takes out Thinking Nade. Thinking Nade on the Buck playing from above means that the soft destruction will be lessened as SSG looks to try and go through that service/delivery door. That's going to be where the execute is. And Rampy has taken up space where the Buck would usually play above, and he'll watch that pantry rotate, which is where Slash was playing off of. Slash has that smoke, still has 3 toxic canisters, so he can use them as best he can to stop Canadian from being able to get that plant off. It's kind of weird to see Hibana in play, but that hard destruction has already proven to be quite useful. The Jaeger moves out, and it's just a missed opportunity from Fultz. Takes a little bit more ammunition than he wanted. As the diffuser goes down, it's Fox A in a hopeless situation. He gets gunned down, and round number 1, just as it did on Consulate, is going to go to Space Station.
So a lot of you might be wondering, why the heck is the smoke trying to run out of the kitchen wall? What's going on there? And look at that Jaeger. He's not even trying to check the Lamborghini doorway. And there's a couple things going on there. The main thing to keep in mind, though, is that Oxygen is feeling absolutely stifled by the way that SSG is playing throughout that round. Now, the main reason for that, and the most important thing that came of that round, was the top floor clear for SSG. They so efficiently and effectively cleared out the top floor, even getting 2 picks in the process, that they were able to use every inch of that floor to open up above the bomb site and make the anchors' lives hell. There's really nowhere comfortable to sit in the site once the walls, or sorry, the ceiling above you starts getting opened up. And yeah, that was, I think, well demonstrated in that round. SSG also had great control over the angles, and were able to cut off rotation from the main lobby, getting 2 from Fultz. We were able to cut off rotation upstairs, which ultimately was to the demise of the Smoke, who could have denied the plant with his gas canisters. Everything was accounted for SSG. It was just a spotless execution. A great case study for those who want to know how to execute onto Kitchen.
I didn't even have any smokes to pull it off either. We've seen a couple smoke plants on Kitchen as of late. If Capitau's available, he's a good one. As good as any. Gridlock every now and then will get played. We saw her get used on Consulate. In fact, the smoke plays from Oxygen were really important for 2 plants that went down, actually. And if you go all the way back to Oxygen on attack, they were able to get the diffuser down 4 times, and they won every single one of those rounds. Now, mind you, a lot of times they weren't doing that with smoke, but 2 of the times they did. That's pretty good. So, yeah. SSG obviously likes this lineup, though, and when teams still have Hibana on the board, they will usually use her, and that's exactly what we see. Canadian had used her last round on taking Penthouse. That was exactly where he was going after, and now he's going to use it just to open up some of that blue bar wall that leads into Sunrise. So it's not going to be directly applied on kitchen or bathroom wall, as you might suspect, or you might actually see in whatever level of play you play at. But instead, there is a greater strategy here for SSG and how they want to apply this and how they're using that hard destruction to take away some of the map control that OXG has.
Looks like it's going to be a Sunrise take. That control that you spoke of has been acquired for SSG on the Sunrise side. Now, because of the IQ, they're certain there's no Valkyrie cams over here, which means the information game is not going to be against SSG necessarily. They'll need to deal with vertical in the main lobby, though. That's huge. His position is probably going to be the main hurdle here for the attack. If he's able to play in this somewhat lower part of the main lobby, he'll have decent cover and an amazing angle into the kitchen door. And Oxygen will probably take this one, especially considering they still have that top floor control. You can see Buck is trying to contest this. And he's going to wait for a drone to drone him in, I believe. But if he can deal with Biologic inside of VIP, Thinking Nade might just be the hero this round because it'll open up a lot of options.
I want to see exactly how they're going to take care of Biologic, or even if they are. That's the better question, because he seems right now to be quite stuck.
Yeah, I mean, they've also got the Jaeger by 90 to support him, too, so this is going to be hard.
A lot of this soft destruction is just getting opened up, and there goes the Lion as Laxing plays over by 90. Down goes Vertical as Rampy finds 2. Now he has Slash as well, but Foxay will end his reign of terror. 30 seconds left, and there goes half of the server. So things will continue to quicken as OXG is going to need to get their way closer back to the bomb site if they've been isolated at this point, which it looks like, for the most part, they actually haven't. There goes Laxing. Foxay now under fire, which means that Bio will have to return. He was upstairs playing inside of VIP, but he's going to try to stop that diffuser from going down. So the Mute will need to do coverage from above. A possible suicide drop into main lobby. He'll head through bathroom. Nitro sell out, but he gets caught with his pants down in the bathroom. Down he goes. Bosco finishes him off. And that'll be the round for Space Station. Oh, he wasn't actually in the bathroom.
No, but it was funny, though.
I know, but I wish he was, because then it would have been funnier.
Yeah, but I mean, he was close to the bathroom.
He was close to the bathroom, but he wasn't in it.
He had his pants down before he even got to the bathroom. That's
there
how bad
you
it was.
go. Oh,
he was trying.
We all know that feeling, right?
I mean,
right?
When you're living home
it.
alone, right, and you're like rushing to the bathroom. Has that not happened to you?
I plead the fifth.
All right, well,
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Kitchen wasn't working very well for
Twice,
Oxygen.
both times. The attackers win. I know there will be some saltiness for the fact that SSG is using Lion. A lot of people will say they're abusing Lion. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that, and I can already hear you groan.
Blah blah. Yeah, no, Lion's in a fine place. I think that's sorry if you want me to elaborate. I think that's it's like Blackbeard, you know? At a high level, Blackbeard and Lion are both incredibly powerful when used correctly. But they're fine, you know? Like I don't like Blackbeard. I don't like Lion. And I'd wish that they didn't exist. But that doesn't mean that they need to be any worse, or that they need to, you know, not exist necessarily, or that you can't use them. No, if you have an idea, if you have a plan, go for it. We're talking about Coastline. Lion is very useful on Coastline because there's barely anywhere to hide already, and you can almost always force those players who are hiding in like a corner, trying to deny angles to their opponents, trying to deny picks to their opponents. You can almost always hide like 1, maybe 2 places max as a defender. That's why they ban Capital. That's why Habana typically gets banned, because they force you out. But Lion makes it even more difficult. When you're getting forced out, if a Lion EE1D is popping, they know exactly what's happening. That's why he's good here. But anyway, no, I think it's unreasonable to complain about that. 2020.
Just because it's 2020 doesn't mean I want to see you, dude.
I do not know that reference.
Some people will get it.
Was it
We'll get into it later.
What's his name?
No, it's from a YouTube video.
Oh, okay, then I don't know it.
Yeah, there you go.
I was thinking it was the Big Lebowski or something, because you said dude.
No, though, that would have been great because, you know, Bolo's charm and all that. Bolo has made a generation of Big Lebowski stans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great movie, by the way.
Good movie, yeah, excellent.
Very good movie, so... It was a retreat, by the way, from Oxygen, but they don't all make it back to safety, and Biologic is the very first casualty for OXG, 90 seconds into the round. Things seem to happen once it hits 90 seconds. It's like, there you go, we've discovered enough of the map to be able to pinch out that last roamer, whoever it may be. In this case, Biologic draws the short straw, so...
Yeah. Roamer, pinch, and pick accomplished.
Where was he playing? I didn't see where he was playing.
Let's see if we can find his corpse. Not by the bar, not by kitchen, maybe by blue. It's hard to tell with the quality because you don't have the
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel that.
I don't see it, but it was probably one of the roamers downstairs. It's my bet.
Probably somewhere on the map.
Yeah, definitely somewhere
Yeah,
on the map.
definitely.
I'm guessing inside, even.
Probably in the building, yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, SSG has the pick that they want, and if you're looking at that flank watch of Thinking Nate, he's going to be free to do that now, as OXG is realizing that for a defense of Hookah, the only 2 points of entry are going to come from over towards that Hookah door, or possibly even Aqua, but Slash was not looking horizontally, he was looking down, and he gets punished by Fultz on that repel on double window. An even greater advantage now for SSG, and still lots of skeleton key for Thinking Nate to be able to carve up that ceiling above him and make it really tough for OXG to hang on. In a very common default spot, Vertical is going to play very, I would say, unpredictably. He's waiting for the sledge to walk on in, but he misses one shot, turns, picks them both up, but he's in a one-man stand. Pistol out, 3 kills, and the timer strikes 0. What a clutch from Vertical. Nobody from Space Station could see him. Impressive stuff. And Oxygen will take their very first round here on Coastline.
Huge round there for Vertical. That was a cheat for SSG. They had that one done. It was over. GG. Well, I guess good round, whatever. It was done, and Vertical cleaned it up. I guess I don't really know. He completely locked it out in his team's favor when it shouldn't have been. I'm very impressed by his patience, I guess, his positioning awareness. I am more, I think, kind of shocked that SSG didn't check for that, and how drastically that cost them. That is something. We would be in 3-0 right now had they just checked one corner.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
That's it. I mean, I wish there was more to talk about there. SSG was going for a really good execution. They were very thorough. They cleared out the roamers around the site, forcing the anchors into the site, all the while getting off picks. That Lion EE1D combo, did you see that? When Slash died to the guy on Repel, that was because you saw Fultz droned out Slash, saw him standing static next to the bar, EE1D'd, punched the barricade at the same time, and then free kill. Because Slash isn't moving. Why? EE1D. I mean, yeah, it's only a few second window, but it matters. Slash could have gotten out of that, but he didn't even expect that. So it's the information Fultz does, and Fultz had gathered, and he did that all himself, I believe. There's more layers to that. The SSG, again, the roam clear, the angle control, SSG was on top of it. The collapse in the site, everything worked, but they just didn't check one corner. And it really goes to show. Check your corners.
I mean, the better question that I have to ask, though, is that it was who? It was Fultz, or no, it was the IQ on Repel, and it was the Sledge who walked through the doorway. The Ash burst up. But there was, the timer was 0, and Canadian was nowhere near the bomb site to get the diffuser down. So Vertical really just is masking a greater issue that was there for SSG. Vertical wasn't the obstacle. SSG's lack of coordination was. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe if there was an audible that was called after Vertical started swinging, I'm not sure.
You know what I think it might have been? I was talking about the angles earlier, and SSG's control of, not just the site, but all of the angles around the site, like the web that they cast to try and net some kills is immense. It's it really does make you feel stifled. It makes you feel like you're suffocating in your own bomb site. And I think having that control, casting that that net, is really hard to pull off with everyone being in the same spot. So I think that they were just going for that. And that's the second time that's happened. Biologic at the top of main lobby stairs will die thanks to Fultz getting information, EE1D'ing, and getting a kill on Repel. Bosco gets another one to follow it up. SSG is not skipping a beat after that last round.
One thing for SSG is their opening picks so far in terms of opening duels on this map is quite impressive. In fact, the attackers have done a mighty fine job of it so far throughout the entirety of this matchup. There's another for SSG. Laxing had gotten one for his team, but he's rewarded for that with a grave with the remainder of the round left for him to sit on the sidelines. That's Slash and Foxay left alive against everybody but Fultz on SSG. So if you're Space Station with the remaining 1 minute left, you might be in pretty good position, and I would say Space Station right now has the advantage. But I would have said that last round too, and it ended up being all for naught. Slash will have to retake from above, leaving Fox A alone on the bomb site, which is kitchen for those of you that are not following along at home. So while you still have upstairs control, and there's a kill from Slash as he finds Thinking Nade, nobody seems to see it. You as SSG need to get in towards the bomb site, but you might be a little bit too spread out. There's still plenty of time, and now the gap that was between these two teams is significantly smaller. It's allowed Slash to rotate, as Coastline is a map where you can get around quite fast. He's got his... Oh, you can see his elbow for just a second, but he's got his body to the cabinet. And no, Bosco's looking the wrong way. Slash pivots, finds kill number 2. He'll have to outduel the Hibana, shotgun out, but he loses the fight to Canadian, who will immediately go for the defuse plant. This will leave Rampy and Foxay to battle it out, but Rampy from the other side of the map makes a beautiful shot. And SSG takes round number 4, and they're up 3-1.
Actually, this right here is a good example of what I was talking about when it comes to angles, Parker, because, like, so Rampy's, he's on the other side of the map, right? But he's cutting off 2, maybe 3 rotations that are so important. He could deny anyone rotating from the main lobby, from the blue bar, or from upstairs. Basically, he's got control of all the entryways to the site from inside the building, from that spot. So, like, I think it probably for that last round where they lost it, I think that was something along those lines. You know what I mean? Having someone really far out there. Or not someone, a couple people really far out there. Anyway. Well done there to SSG. He came really close, though. I gotta commend Slash for his valiant effort to try and come back on that round. Just wasn't gonna happen, though. It's too tall a mountain to trek. And, well, Oxygen are clearly struggling on the defensive half of Coastline. The only round that they've managed to win so far was, it was vertical, basically. Putting in the work, and 2 members of SSG being way too far.
Oxygen have had some issues with high flying performers being seemingly grounded today. One person who has been extremely quiet is Laxing. He hasn't had quite the impact that we've expected. Fultz picked it up quite heavily after the first half of map number 1, so he's done his damnedest. And Rampy's having a good match here too. But yeah, I mean, OXG really seems to be the vertical show today. He has put in an extraordinary amount of work to keep his team in a number of these rounds. He's playing on the roles where you expect him to get a lion's share of the kills, and he's not disappointing any fantasy owners. If you have him on your team, you're probably in a pretty good spot right now. And if he can stay alive till the bitter end of the round, as we saw in round number 3, which he single-handedly won, then Oxygen has a significant and fighting chance. I mean, obviously the stats show that he's not that far ahead, but his impact in every single one of these maps has been quite big. On Coastline, he just had that one big round. Other than that, hasn't really been all that much. The rest of the team has been doing a pretty good job. Slash had a great round last round too.
You know, I can't say that it's, since map number 1, I don't think it's been like an individual player show. It's kind of been an all over the place sort of thing. Map number 1, there were a couple standouts, especially on SSG. Bosco, Fultz, Rampy. But since then, I don't know. It hasn't felt the same of like, oh yeah, look at this one individual. A lot of team effort going on here, and I love to see that. It's my opinion, most interesting seed is the one where you get good teamwork going on. No. Oh, go ahead.
We are very close to hitting that 90-second mark where somebody has to die. The question is going to be, who is it, or are we going to buck that trend? It looks like we bucked it, at least for now.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Trend bucked. Speaking of buck, we're on Thinking Nade inside of Billiards, so go on to the drill.
I'll try to gather some information below him so he can open up in a lethal way. If you just open up the holes, well, the defenders rotate away from them, or they try to challenge them. But if you drone before opening the holes, then you can get information, open up directly above someone, and potentially do a lot of work with that. Maybe get a kill. No, none coming so far. It's been a very slow round. Not just no kill at the 90-second mark, but I mean it's continuing on, where everyone stays alive. The lethality of the angles that SSG have been playing somewhat dissipating here, I suppose.
Laxing is getting supported right now by a Valkyrie camera down below. He's still going to continue to live, and he's crept his way into security, finding countless amounts of drones. There goes Biologic. He hasn't found the scoreboard yet, and he's going to need to wait till the final round of their defense to see if he can do it. As the Lion is closing in on being able to get towards the bomb site. They're going to try to flash out the Jaeger playing inside of securities. There's Laxing. He'll run right by the Lion, and he sees it. What a shot, but it's Foxay who actually gets credited with the kill. It looked like it was Laxing. He'll find one on the thinking nade, though, and there's lots of damage being done. Down goes Canadian, and SSG will continue to hold the lead, but it gets narrower as OXG takes round number 5. They're still very much in this, and this map is still anyone's game. It's 3-2 for SSG, going on to the very final defense for Oxygen.
Certainly the most confident round we've seen from Oxygen so far, and it's nice to see that they're winning rounds on their own merits and doing a solid job at it. That roam was pretty lethal there for Oxygen. It distracted SSG for the majority of the round. You saw there even towards the end of the round, we had Faults, for example, trying to take a fight over by Bathroom. The site is double bar. And, he's running out of time. He's really got to go, but he's just, he wants to do his thing. He wants to clear out those roamers, understandably so. If you don't get those picks, then they will come back to haunt you. Sunrise Bar is a very open bomb site. Generally speaking, most of the plant spots are susceptible to roamers retaking their own bomb site. So you put in the legwork or you get punished. Well done, though, to Oxygen. We'll see if they can manage a hookah billiards defense.
Last time we got here, it was actually Oxygen defending on round number 3, and they won it. Well, Vertical won it. It was basically the Vertical show at that point.
It was the Vertical.
Nestled in the corner of Hookah, he was able to pivot from the main door on the balcony to the window and then to the rotate hole, and with the pistol out, took out the very final kill. And with it, Oxygen won the round. Now, they're going to go back on here, and they're going to pin their hopes on maybe a little bit deeper of a defense, because you can't gamble on one person doing it all every single time. And I don't expect to see the same flashes of brilliance from Vertical in the closing moments of a round. It's just unlikely to happen again. With that said, Oxygen is going to be bringing a bit of a frustrating lineup when it comes to drone work from SSG, and it's forced SSG to actually have to change things up themselves. Running the Vigil, now running the Mute. It means that SSG's ability to gather information is going to be significantly difficult, or at least more difficult than it was previously. That's what Canadian is going to be on the Jackal for. Hibana obviously not paying the same dividends that you would expect of her, and it also means that there will be a set of smokes for SSG. I'll aid them with being able to pull off that plant.
So far, nothing really eventful happening. Oh wow, that's a yokai drone. Okay, spotted a yokai drone there. SSG could pinch that off, and it would actually be really useful. Looks like Oxygen wants to C4 from below, maybe. They've only got one on Laxing. Is he actually? No, he's playing at the base. But it might be a retake down there, an attempted pick, but not gonna happen. It's just a roam clear so far, and we're not really looking at the roam clear because there aren't any roamers. You can notice that they're pretty much everybody on the defense is playing by the site. You've got some people downstairs roaming, but they're towards the site, and the roam clear is coming from the east. So no contact, no drone contact. Mostly just SSG looking for defenders, not finding any. That's really important. A gas canister expended to retreat from Aqua. That's huge, because now Slash will have one less to actually deny the plant through the wall.
You throw that through the pink wall, and it can deal some significant damage and stop the default plant that's going to happen behind the bomb chassis. Vertical, the man of the hour on this bomb site before, is going to do work, but on a different part of the map. This time down by the kitchen, he takes out Bosco. And the IQ can be so crucial in finding those mute jammers and finding the Vigil of Bio, and also finding those yokais.
Oh, that's default.
What a line of sight that is. And yes, that is the default plant spot. That's a cheeky angle being held from Bio down below. Still looking for his first kill, and he's got 50 seconds to find it this half.
Yeah. I mean, Bio's set up to find it right now. He's the one with the kill position with that angle. Some nasty stuff. Ash charge goes off. Not sure what it nets. Could have been a great many things.
I think it's the barbed wire at double doors, and it does appear that that was Yes, that was its intended target. And there goes an EE1D. It's the very first one, actually. So you're going to gamble on these going off in the post plant.
Foxay doesn't know how close he is to death, but Fultz doesn't know either. He'll get one onto Laxing, but Foxay with the refrag by the window. The plant going down, but it's not on default, so the angle doesn't work. Canadian might actually be able to get this. The cover's in. Thinking Nade is successful. Canadian as well. They both make it out. That shot missed there from Vertical is huge. Foxay in the floor, which means the Yokais are standing still. Now it's only Vertical as Canadian picks up 2 big kills. Vertical dropped downstairs. He has almost no chance here, but he will at least get the buck, bringing this into a one-on-one. Canadian actually is low HP. A single bullet from Vertical is all it will take, but he has to be assertive on the play. He doesn't know where the last attacker is. He has to just peek things. 7 seconds is how long it takes to disable this diffuser. Repel, it's heard. Vertical knows, but oh no, it's actually below. He looks through the hole. He can't get it now. He's out of time. Vertical, no chance. And Canadian will win it on time. What a try, though.
I don't think Canadian thought that he had it. That's why you could see the desperation shots. And I mean, the look on his face tells just that story. I mean, the look on his face. They're gamers. They don't believe in lights, Michael. Look at that. Where's your RGB? Where is it? I don't see it. Really well played by SSG. The plant goes down with Canadian planting, not by default, but by the pool table. And the only person that was left alive on his team watching was Thinking Nade. There were still 4 members of OXG that were upright. They didn't know this plant was going down. Could it be bad comms? We don't know. We don't know the exact reason for it. But what we do know is that it happens unbeknownst to them. Immediately, Canadian gets off. There's an engagement that happens. I believe it was Biologic. He gets taken out of play. Vertical misses some shots on a Thinking Nade as Thinking Nade escapes to luggage and then manages to get out of there. And Canadian picks up 2 very big kills. And I mean, it's the C7E in the hands of a Jackal. Well, here you can frag. That's part of the job. And SSG and the post plan are basically perfect. Really nice to watch and really just really well practiced. And that's got to be a heartbreaker of a round for OXG. It certainly seemed like up until the final 4 or 5 seconds that it was over. OXG should have had it. And yet they did not. And a lot of it was just poor coordination on their end.
Yeah, I also think assuming, like, for example, the angle that opens up on a default, that's great. The plant went somewhere else. The fact that didn't end in a 3-3 is really bad for Oxygen, in my opinion. I think it certainly could have been a 3-3. Such a nice try, though. Especially at the end there. Vertical really put in his A+ effort. Gotta commend him for it. Imagine he killed Canadian on that first engagement by luggage. That would have been something.
Or some chatter, by the way, on social media that I happened to partake in between the matches.
Great tell.
After the second match, they said teams really unbanning, leaving Maestro up so Fultz can play him. I mean, you're gonna leave Maestro up, but it's been a role swap of Fultz and Bosco. But that is true. There were teams that were banning Maestro quite a lot against Bosco at some point. Or sorry, against Fultz at some point. So it's kind of weird to see Bosco on that role, but Coastline does often see teams swap up their roles. So what's most important is that the gadgets are used properly.
Yeah, I agree, and it is definitely dangerous. I think that the Maestro will be a big part of this. The outcomes here. It's curious that we were seeing the Echo being brought from Oxygen instead. A lot of Echo play.
They like the Echo, and I mean, if you've got Slash or Bio on it, they tend to do quite well on those roles. And oh my, there goes the Maestro of Bosco. He gets downed and shot from Repel of Foxay all the way down on that hookah window. He'll drone out Bosco, and well, Vertical will be the one to finish him off. Good bit of coordination as Vertical was on Repel over by Aqua, but it's a run out from Rampy on Vigil to take care of that pesky Ash. And silence the best gun for Oxygen so far in this map. So that's a very big pick. It's been a very quick round, though. We are very close to the 1 minute mark, and a Hibana that had been brought out by SSG will now be brought by OXG as well on OXG's very first attack. They'll be applied over by Hookah, which will force some of the defenders back, and they can't play as cavalierly by the door into Hookah as they usually would.
Yeah, it's actually surprising that nobody tried to stop those. I mean, maybe they did get some of them. They could have just positioned someone in the B-bomb. I'm guessing they're worried about the Aqua Repel still, so fair enough. Now, we're coming down to the last few 40 seconds here. 4v4.
Defender is approaching a kill zone.
It's almost like there's a pattern. One that I'm familiar with. Easy kill there for Foxe as Fultz steps out of the bomb site. Did he need to? Not necessarily. Did he want to? Certainly, it seems.
What
A
a
second
shot.
one for Foxe as Rampy peekaboos over the shield. That means no gas canisters, no denial there, and the plant will go down by default. Slash with good coverage, and he gets the second one to boot. Oxygen, not skipping a single beat in that round. They hit all of their challenges.
Some really good gun skill on their side, especially Foxe, as you saw him take control of that front from Hookah, which was to alleviate most of the pressure from SSG. So, man, that was about as clean as you can get to take control of Hookah. And you're right, you know, you said Fultz, he peaked. Did he need to? No. Who was it? Was it Thinking Aid that was playing behind the deployable shield, went to do the same thing? Did he need to peak as well?
No.
Foxe punished both of them. And those are just small mistakes that you don't need to make. You just don't. You don't need to take those engagements. OXG punished you for them. Expect to see more restraint from Space Station moving on.
Yeah, I think that they've learned their lesson there. I'm sure maybe it's Troy. I don't know who's the guy who whips people back into shape, but I want to say it's Troy. It's probably saying something along the lines of, yeah, guys, come on. I mean, I think the peak was to try and dislodge an attacker from Big Window, which if there were an attacker on Big Window, that's crucial. But there wasn't. So maybe it was misinformation. That's possible. Maybe someone made a call, someone was Big Window, and Fultz just peeked off that call. You know, it's not always the individual's fault. Sometimes it's the information that the individual thinks they have next to one of the other people on the team. But we can't know. We can only speculate at this point.
10 seconds
So, kitchen defense for SSG. We'll see what they do here.
attackers have discovered the location of a bomb. 5 seconds left before insertion.
Ibarra Cog. You could expect Bosco to be playing main lobby on the long angles through the holes that were just opened up by smoke. Also probably play on site, maybe a lone anchor, maybe he'll have one supporting anchor, but generally a smoke can solo hold on kitchen, service entrance. And then you'll probably have your standard roaming array. You've also got Valkyrie cams for some usually pretty decent information gathering.
Located a bomb.
Predictions coming true. A Deagle ammo goes by very quickly as you try to do some soft destruction with it. I
Really
don't know
does.
if Canadian was worried about where he was going to be getting pushed from, but look at that line of sight. He might actually have gotten all of the ex-Kairos. That's what it seemed like.
Some of them, certainly.
He did get all of them, so there you go. And it's going to happen again. All gone. This time shot from what appeared to be through the courtyard. That could have been Bosco with the long-range angle.
Yep.
It sure does look to be the case. Only one round left for Biologic to see if he can actually get that wall opened up. This is going to be a lot tougher, and you can't be quite as loosey-goosey. That's the official term for it, by the way.
Of course.
With those ex-Kairos.
And he is being quite loosey-goosey with his ex-Gyros.
It's quite loosey-goosey.
Yeah, they need to clear out office at the very least before they even attempt that. But you can see no attempt is being made to do that. That's going to allow SSG to continue to roam on this side of the map. Canadian is even going to get Foxe. I'm not sure where he got that from. Maybe from the window, I want to say. Yeah, looking through the blue bar window is my guess. Whatever the case, pick early for SSG and they establish man advantage. Oxygen need to reassess this take. They've gotten control of Sunrise, but they were gifted control of Sunrise. And it cost them too. Even though it was a gift, they didn't know that it would be. So, yeah, they used a couple nades there, and they used a life up on that Sunrise push. And they've even lost quite a bit of HP. Oh, whoa, what is this? Biologic has just made it into the site. He will get refragged, but Slash is right on top of it. Vertical and Slash now have full site control with Laxing by service entrance. And the diffuser is in hand. It'll go down by the shelf. Laxing covering the kitchen entrance, but this Vigil of Rampy could do some work. He won't. Slash will shut him down. Vertical repositions to plant in out inside of storage. No longer exposed to the holes in the kitchen wall. Beautiful reposition, but Canadian catches one at least in that transition. Vertical and Slash on low HP. Bosco on full, and it's a dock as well. All he needs to do is land a single bullet on Vertical, possibly two on Slash. Either way, this is very winnable, but oh, Poor timing. Slash wins it out. Oxygen take a round they had no right winning.
Huge round from Slash, and honestly, whether they had any right winning it or not, attackers very much favored here on Coastline. SSG split goes 4-2 in favor of the attackers. Now OXG looks to be putting together their very own impressive streak. At what point does SSG begin to realize that the pressure is mounting more than it has in a long time? I mean, it's a major. You're trying to defend your title. I mean, it's not a world championship, sure, and it's not against any teams from around the globe. It's just those in your backyard, but still, there's points for SI on the line. There's money on the line. There's bragging rights. I'm certain there's a trophy of some kind. Maybe if OXG wins, it will be a golden stake.
Maybe. I mean, I'd like a golden stake. They actually do that,
It's not
by
about
the
you,
way.
Michael. You're not going to win the trophy.
I will. You know what? If they win, I mean, how much do those usually cost? Like what? Like $100 or something?
A normal steak you can get at a grocery store for 15 to 20
No, I was
bucks.
thinking like an actual like you go
Like
to
a
a
tomahawk
restaurant.
cut.
No, you go to a restaurant and you get like, well, maybe it's a tomahawk cut, but you go to a restaurant and they have like a gold covered steak because you want to
I've
prove.
never been to a restaurant, Michael, that has a gold covered steak.
You want to
I
prove
don't
how
know what kind of restaurants you
ostentatious and
eat at.
garish you are.
Left before insertion.
Well, I was gonna say
I don't
like
know. What restaurants do you go to? They have gold covered steaks.
I don't. I just know
I
they
used to
exist.
work at a steakhouse. We didn't have gold covered steaks.
No, I just know they exist, Parker. I've seen them. I've seen pictures and stuff.
Face it. Could you please confirm golden steak trophy over? Thanks.
Oh man, I mean, well, it's it's the stake of not getting eliminated in the first day of the major.
Yeah, there are. You know what? We can all agree with. There are a lot of stakes in this tournament, not
There-
just literally, but
Many stakes involved.
metaphorically. Yes.
Yes,
But no, I mean, like, to get back on.
I think they're actually even spelt differently. Stakes. Yeah, it's spelt
Yes,
differently. Yeah, totally
Oh
different
my
word.
god. Anyway.
Anyway,
The point I was trying to make is that SSG did not bow to pressure on map number 1. They have not looked like themselves so far today. Not that struggling against DZ is something to be ashamed of. Obviously, you want to give credit to DZ, and DZ played some of the best Rainbow Six today that I think I've actually seen them play in quite a while.
agreed.
But SSG just doesn't look like themselves. Maybe it's just the meta. Maybe they are struggling. They were very good in the Mute Mozzie meta, and I don't think there's any taking that away from them. But we are in a very different time and place right now. Mute is not played as much as he used to be. Mozzie has fallen off the face of the earth. Castle is not seen as much either, depending on the map, of course. In this case, you're looking at just Gadget Denial, and right now, with the fragging potential that comes with it, you're seeing Oxygen thrive. Now, it is an attacker-sided coastline. Wamai is also banned, so it is a bit of a different landscape than we're used to seeing. But OXG, I honestly think between all 3 maps so far that we've seen today, I would say that OXG has been so far, just narrowly, the better team between the two. And, I mean, there's still plenty of rounds to go. But OXG is sitting very comfortably on attack right now on coastline, and well, they've managed to square things up 4-4.
I say that this still could go either way. This is looking a lot like map 2 for me. I wouldn't be surprised if either of these teams won. Oh, and you know what I just realized, Parker? I think I know why Oxygen won that last round.
Why?
Biologic.
Is it because they got more kills?
Yeah, Biologic got his first kill. Oh. Yeah. Impact frags, dude. For real, though, actually.
Had impactful 1 kill.
No, but it did matter a lot, though, because it allowed Slash to set up in a way where he could control the site. That kill that Bio got. And he
There's
traded
going to be the
himself
lead
out.
off kill, by the way.
Yeah,
it's
there.
going to be laxing.
Uh-oh. Oxygen putting 2 in a row. And, okay, sorry, 4 in a row. Thinking he made the 5th, and it's a flawless round. Absolute slaughter.
This is incredible to watch, I gotta say.
Yep.
I am very impressed with the comeback that Oxygen had. You know, after Villa, I think there was some very compelling history to go off of that maybe Oxygen would falter. Keep in mind, there was next to no break for OXG. They played TSM, if you could call it playing. They played TSM, and then they immediately had to go right back into the meat grinder against SSG. And look at this. Look at this. They are performing as well, as you could possibly hope for. And they have, like I said, they've been the much better team between the two. I mean, not much better, but they have been the better team so far. I would say it is.
The meat
It will
grinder?
grow. The what?
The meat grinder? Are they making a hamburger steak?
Defenders, protect your
Those are disgusting. I've had hamburger steaks. They're nasty.
Like into the wood chipper, into the fire, like meat grinder. Like it's a metaphor meaning like they're in the thick of it.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, my bad.
Very rare occasions where you get me with those, but when you do,
Well, I mean, I don't know. It was a light graze even.
just a flesh wound.
It's only a flesh wound. I've cut your arms off.
left before insertion.
I've still got fight left in me.
5 seconds.
Come here, you.
What are you gonna do? Bleed on me?
Attackers are
And then he
heading out
proceeds
to
to call him a coward, various
All
other
the things.
insults.
Yes, as he's
Yeah.
running away.
Yep.
Well,
What was his name? Percy,
I have no idea.
the guy with the backpack. Come on, Percy.
I don't know.
The coconuts.
I don't remember all the. I don't remember all the names anyway. You got a match going on in front of us, Michael.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, Space Station defending Kitchen. Canadian are going to try and roam over by Vase. They've even got to roam upstairs above the site itself. This is going to take a long time, I think, for Oxygen to clear out. But I'll be honest, they've been looking so proficient with their information gathering and their ability to collapse as a unit. I don't think it's going to be too big a deal for Oxygen. And it looks almost like, yeah, Space Station are getting a little bit more passive. They're trying to disengage before the engagements even come. I think that's smart for SSG. They're losing a lot of those fights. They might need to bunch up in order to try and gain an advantage.
The entry is going to come from vertical over towards 90. You can see him getting droned in, but he doesn't like that advance, so he'll turn his sights towards the top of White Stairs. And with the Jackal in play, it means that some pressure will now fall onto the shoulders of Canadian as he's getting trackled by Jackal, as we call it in the biz. And vertical will go and be one with the vase above by White Stairs. He'll go on to drone now and likely aid a teammate as he was the lucky beneficiary of the droning that was happening from his own squad. First encounter is going to come with Slash losing about 20 HP, but that's it. Everything else is silent for now, and half of the round gone as it's a weirdly aggressive play by Canadian. He's looking to greet OXG over by Mudroom. He gets droned out, and he's got some reinforcements and a rotate that he can escape through towards the blue bar. This is a kitchen defense, so he's within arm's length of being able to get to the bomb site if something seriously goes awry.
This angle that Slash is playing is akin to a lot of the angles we were seeing SSG play. Basically just good control, cut off of the rotation. He's got to be patient on it, though. Not sure what the intent is behind the smoke, but it looks like he wants to get aggressive in the main lobby. Laxing picks up one. Okay, well, the kill feed is coming alive for Oxygen, clearly. Canadian's even on low HP. Thinking needs the last full player alive on SSG. We might see Canadian be able to pull off some heroics, too, and get a kill or two before he dies. The push works out. That's Diffuser down. 30 seconds for these last remaining attackers to pick up that Diffuser and retake control of the site. Thinking Nade, though, gets trackled by the Jackal. That's the worst timing for that. But the Jackal dies. We were talking about the heroics the Canadian could pull out, and that is exactly what it was necessary for this to potentially be an SSG round. About 20 seconds left. Diffuser still not in hand for Oxygen. These anchors, well, these defenders are still alive and defending. Diffuser needs to be picked up. Someone's going to have to stop the timer. It's going to be vertical. One of his covers will die as vertical entries. He has to stick it now, so it's a 2v1. The timing, but Canadian saves it. The angle play almost perfectly went the way of Oxygen, but Canadian just barely manages the last kill. And wow, what a nail biter at the end there. SSG wins it out.
Really incredible stuff, and man, it propels us to all 12 rounds. Of course, would you have it any other way? We're not done early, by the way. You got to sleep? Well, too bad. There's Rainbow Six for you to watch. And right now, well, we're going to need every single round of regulation on every single map. Get excited! What an absolute brawl that was. And honestly, that's Thinking Nade in the clutch. SSG falls apart as OXG enters. They manage to isolate and pin down 3 separate members of SSG. They win those gunfights. But as we point out time and time again, OXG are so spread out. there is no refrag potential. In fact, I don't think we saw two OXG members side by side until that bitter end when they ran through delivery to try and get the plant down, at which Canadian stopped. Because of the spread that OXG had, they were able to pick off and engage those fights and win, getting a sizable advantage over SSG. But then what happens next is that there's 30 seconds, and when they try to push on in, they don't understand Thinking Nade's position. He's on the run from the Jackal, he gets the kill, Diffuser goes down, and nobody from OXG is close enough to be able to refrag. They're not close enough to work with one another. You can go back on drone and guide them in, but if you lose that gunfight, you're in trouble. Canadian and Thinking Nade stayed very mobile, and they were able to play off of each other. And frankly, OXG did not have the time to be able to get back to where they needed to, especially with that Diffuser being miles away from the closest member of OXG. So with that said, that's Space Station's first win on defense. It has been 10-15 minutes since SSG won a round, and it allowed Oxygen to not just mount a comeback, but then also take the lead. It's a double bar defense. And Michael, it's time for my favorite part of the match. Whichever team wins.
Oh, this, yeah.
Goes to match point.
Yep. Could go either way still. We've had that trend continue throughout. It's seemingly never ceasing. Strange, to say the least, how these teams will not let each other slip away. But I think all the better for the entertainment value, in my opinion. Now, this hole Habana has made is quite substantial. It will cut off the rotation between the blue bar and the sunrise bar, as well as apply pressure to Sofa. It's a lot of pressure, and it is going to limit where the gas canisters can go. Oh, here it comes the play from the attack. Are they just going to go straight into the site? The Clash exposes his side. Slash won't land the shots. Biologic tries to plant, and he will die as he attempts to vault out. Rampy will get him from, I believe, the blue bar window. No? Well, wherever he got him from, he's dead. It looks like above. Yeah, billiards. Good control there for SSG, and the attempt failed. Oxygen will reassess their options.
Wherever he may roam. Diffuser is still down. I don't know if Vertical is going to be the man to pick it up. He is, but obviously Ash isn't necessarily the operator that you want to be immobile to get that Diffuser down. Additionally, you have a greater degree of difficulty in the Clash, but it appears that you've been picked off from the back. And yeah, that's correct. Foxy's in the main lobby, and with the back exposed, down goes Canadian. He'll need to be rescued by one of his teammates. On the hunt is the Maestro of Fultz. We talked about how good he can be on this operator. Down goes Vertical, Rampy, and Thinking Nade trying to return to the bomb site. Canadian picked back up, leaves Laxing and Slash in a very unsavory position. But can they put their guns to good use? Just as we saw out of the Thinking Nade Canadian duo, Slash and Laxing will have to be just as good. But here comes the shield impediment. And both Slash and Laxing are going to have next to nothing to deal with it. But Thinking Nade gets baited out, and there goes Canadian. All of a sudden, Oxygen have a fighting chance. They're going to try to pick away at this Jaeger, and there he goes, but Rampy swings out on a Laxing and wins it, so now Slash will be up next. Playing behind this deployable shield with the slats. Great patience from Rampy. He falls off, and there he goes. Slash vaults on in, Fultz takes him out, and it's match point, series point for Space Station.
You know, 2 rounds ago, you would have said, nah, Oxygen's got this. They were on a roll. They were on an absolute roll there. Oxygen seemed in full control of the attacking half. 2 rounds in a row now, they have suffered. The kitchen clutch between Thinking Nade and Canadian, that's just a whole nother thing. That's insanity. SSG went above and beyond to win that one. Canadian in particular. But that round right there, that's even exchange, artillery on both ends, lobbing shells on each other. It all looks good for both squads still right up to the bitter end. And then the patience on the Jaeger playing that shield. Oh my gosh. The teamwork and the professionalism and, again, the patience. Like the understanding of what your opponent must do in order to win is so well displayed by SSG. And there's like a lot of traits, I think, that make SSG one of the best teams in the world. But in my opinion, one of the most important is their perseverance. I think SSG should have, many times now, lost this match. And yet they haven't. Now, I hope we get to go to overtime, because I want more rounds. And we've seen every single round played so far in regulation.
5 seconds to go.
And we will for this whole series. But I want to milk it for what it's worth. I want to get every single ounce out of this because one of these teams is going home. You know, I guess they're all home. Never mind. Sorry, I forgot about the deadly virus and the. Anyway, one of these teams is not going to be able to play in this major after this match. And it's
winner moves to Canada.
Huh?
I said the winner will move to Canada.
Yes, the winner is forced to move to Canada, very far in the north of Canada.
Very cold.
Yes.
I know at least 2 members in this game that would be happy with that.
Yes, yeah. Well, either team even, actually.
Yeah.
Whichever way it goes.
Yeah, that's... But anyway.
Yep.
This has been exciting to watch. We started almost 12 hours ago. Space Station was primed and ready for their very first game, so they've been up for quite a while. That is tiring in and of itself, but it's also tiring because this is now map 5 that OXG has played, and well, Bosco somehow doesn't die. I don't know if Foxay botched that grenade or not.
Yeah, he might have botched it because there's very little holes, and usually if you get it right on, it makes tiny little holes. So it was probably dropped a little.
I've heard holes go both ways.
They do, yeah. Just ask Emzo.
Yeah, so I was gonna say. So Bosco manages to survive. That could have been a very detrimental loss for Space Station, and with that, set us up for overtime. Probably likely, I would say.
Yeah.
Halfway through the round now, and there you go. Some ADS juggling going on from Thinking Nade, and he manages to stop some of it, but it doesn't look like it's going to be fully successful, and he's going to have to peel way back to the reinforcements on that B bomb, with Foltz now watching on Cool Vibe Stairs. This is a hookah defense for those that don't have access to a visual component of this stream. As nice as it is to listen to us narrate, there is a visual component, so we can't perfectly describe. We're not radio announcers, so.
Yeah, thank God for that. You know, there's something I want to bring up, but we've only got 50 seconds left in this round, and I'm still not sure who's going to be able to take this one. We'll talk about it later.
I have no idea.
Yeah, the angles opened up here are going to make the hookah take so hard for Oxygen, though. If they're fully committed to that, they're taking a big risk. I'm not sure if they want to full commit, but it looks like they are determined.
They got drones in sight, though, and they'll at least lock down the Jaeger and try to pounce upon this kill on the Bosco, which they get. Foxay opens things up with 30 seconds left, and with it, the lead for OXG. This is the calm before the storm, possibly 20 seconds to go for Biologic to be able to sprint on. Anybody gets dropped by Foltz playing on this deployable shield, and immediately he moves over, down goes Slash and Vertical, and Foxay cut off a wire. That's it! Oxygen snuffed out, and it's Space Station blasting into the next part of the lower bracket. They'll stay alive by the skin of their teeth, and that's it for Oxygen's run. 7-5, map 3 for Space Station.